Welcome back to another FPL reaction stream. We're talking about Game Week 17, and it hasn't finished, of course. We'll be looking at the Game Week 18, as we always do with these reaction streams, and there's so much to discuss. Even though we've only had a handful of games happen in the Premier League so far, we've got some huge clashes tomorrow. All eyes will be on Liverpool versus Spurs, and also Chelsea versus Everton, as we've got a three-horse race in the title, it seems, but Liverpool are in pole position. Saka came off of an injury. Let's just say my timing with Saka and Isak has been absolutely dreadful, and it has cost me big time in weeks like this. So it is a massive red arrow at the moment to around 500,000, only 12 points so far. But I've still got a lot of players left. Triple up in Chelsea against Everton, we'll see how that goes. My new signing Robinson against Southampton. And I've also got Cunha and Mohamed Salah as my captain. So a lot could change, and I do expect a higher rank at the end of the game compared to where I am now, but it could still be a red. And once again, I mean, I have to go for it very soon about what happened with Isak and Saka, because that is really grinded my gears in FPL, and you always have these sort of transfers that can go against you, but you gotta laugh, otherwise you will cry. Let's get straight into your comments as always. Drop a like if you enjoy the content, and also subscribe to the channel. We're getting closer towards 31,000 subscribers, which is going to be the goal going into 2025. And I hope you enjoy the Christmas festivities and also the New Year celebrations. And Man City has finished, kicks things off saying, I was this close to captaining Isak, ended up getting Salah. But you got Isak, so enjoy the points. 32 points, Kirke, Salah, Robinson, Sanchez, Palmer left. Rodgers on the bench hurts though. Yeah, a lot of people asked about Rodgers and the deadline stream earlier. In a lot of cases, I said to start him, but in some of them, I was going the other way. And I think those that bench Rodgers will be fuming. 21 points into play, Robinson, Palmer, Salah, captain, Enzo and Cunha. Yeah, it's not terrible. 21 points is okay. Yeah, those that had Isak basically will be very happy. Maybe those that started Rodgers or that will have him coming off the bench, they'll be very happy with that. I think the Saka injury is quite serious. It looked like a hamstring problem, probably out for a couple of weeks. We'll see what Arteta says. He's probably said something already about it, but we kind of all know by now we can't really look too much into what Arteta says. Congrats to those that captain Isak over Palmer and Salah. What a result. Yeah, I don't see either of them really matching it, but Palmer did score 4 goals against Everton last time out. Good morning from New Zealand again. Great to see you. Easy99 says 20 points with 4 left. Joao Pedro out in my team. He keeps blanking. Yeah, if I was in a position of strength, I'd really be looking at selling him, but Isak is my priority. I had him a couple of weeks ago. He got injured against Crystal Palace, by the way. I sold him to fund Saka. He blanks 4 times in a row whilst Isak scores in every game, and then Saka gets injured against Crystal Palace in the same stadium. I don't know what's happening, honestly. Sometimes the universe can be funny and FPL control you, but yeah, Joao Pedro is just really a budget striker to start from time to time, it looks like. I'd still rather have Chris Wood despite his blank today. Aina and Rogers gang checking in. Yeah, also a lot of people asked me about Aina, whether to sell him for a -4 here or to sell him for free, maybe bench him. And in a lot of cases, I actually suggested keeping him and starting if possible. So for those that went there, fair play. I certainly didn't expect that. I thought he probably would have blanked actually, but he's a good long-term hold. Wissa on my early transfer list, 0.7 million left in the bank. Yeah, and I still like Mbeumo, by the way. And I still maintain what I said before in terms of, apart from Saka, if he's fit, Salah, Palmer, there aren't many midfielders I'd rather go to rather than Mbeumo. Maybe Amad Diallo. You could look at Rodgers as well, but more importantly, I think Jota as a short-term punt. But I think with Mbeumo, and even in your case with Wissa, I think the fixtures are still quite poor overall. There is Southampton away in a couple of weeks' time, but you could still sell. Imagine Sales has the biggest return. It's a return, mate. I've got bloody nothing. What, 4 points from Gabriel? Yeah, well, it's not really a return with the yellow card. 16 points, yeah, well, don't worry, I'm doing even worse, so enjoy. 60 points, Aina and Sells plus Isak captain. Jesus Christ, fair play. Is Gabriel Jesus worth considering? I'd probably wait. He's done brilliantly in the last couple of days. That first goal in midweek against Crystal Palace has transformed him because all of a sudden the confidence is back. In front of goal, you're thinking he's going to score. The flicks, the touches, the control, it's all there. You know, the Gabriel Jesus who first joined Arsenal that really, you know, lit up the scene and pushed Arsenal towards title contenders. Let's hold our horses though. I'd probably wait and see how he does in the next match, although admittedly it's against weak opposition, and then reassess. If he performs really well again, then yeah, I'd be looking to invest. But you could just be looking at a case of Jesus doing really well against the same opposition twice in a week. So look, I've been here before with Gabriel Jesus. When he's on it, he's a brilliant player to watch, and he does more than just score goals. But FPL-wise, I'd probably wait. Saka's definitely a sell now. His injury doesn't look good. I'd wait just in case for more information, but I tend to agree with you. I do think the injury will be quite serious. At that price, to miss him for a couple of weeks at least, maybe months, yeah, he would become a sell in that case. Yeah, Gabriel Jesus is going to be a very enticing option, it seems, but I'd probably urge caution there, and I'll talk about him in the transfer tips in more detail. Jesus good if Saka's injured for a long period? Not necessarily. I see what you're getting at. He should be more nailed on, so to speak, and he can also play on the wings, but I just think him playing down the middle, like he has done in the last 2 games, that's where he's going to play his best football, and Saka is one of the chief creators. One of the goals of his hat-trick the other day was assisted by Saka, and I also think Arsenal will struggle in the upcoming games without Bukayo. Silly question, buying Jesus on Christmas Day? Well, yeah, it just seems perfect, right? He's been amazing, you know, in the last couple of days, but I'm still going to urge caution, to be honest. Josod, Saka for Bruno, Welbeck for Isak. I'll be honest, I was so tempted as soon as Isak scored the second goal, let alone the hat-trick, to just rage transfer him in again. I've done that in a couple of weeks now. And I would have bought Amad Diallo or Rodgers for Mbumo. But with Saka potentially injured, I have to wait. And I think the best course of action for a lot of people is to see more information, have the full picture. Maybe Mateus Cunha, Joao Pedro, who do you sell? I think Cunha would be the one there. There's a lot up in the air, so I definitely recommend holding your transfers if you can. But in that case, I think those are good moves, especially Welbeck out for Isak. Isak ended my watch and Rodgers on the bench. Yeah, don't get me started on Isak, mate. It's honestly one of the worst kind of transfers in and out I've ever had of a player in FPL history, but especially this season. It's just been a massive swing. Maybe I was a bit too impatient, but he was yellow flagged going into Liverpool. At one stage, he might have been orange flagged, I believe. And for him to get 11 points in that game was already a shock. And he hasn't blanked ever since. Only in the Carabao Cup, but who gives a crap about that? Jellyfish Potter says 42 points of Virgil, Robinson, Colwell, Salah captain, Bruno Fernandes and Cunha to play. Yeah, you're in a very strong position. Rodgers and Isak, those that have both of them will be very happy this week. I've got neither, so it's pretty much just celebrate the other points and hope you get some on Sunday. Sam was so close to captaining Isak, but bottled it and chose Salah. Yeah, but if Salah gets a double-digit haul, he just needs a goal and an assist, which he can do against Tottenham, and you don't regret the decision too much, do you? Just to classify City in the relegation side. Yeah, just like Chelsea were last year, right? When I say last year, it's the season before last, but it still counts, right? There was that, what was it, 9-game winless streak, or maybe 12 games from Chelsea, but don't worry, at least you're doing well now. Son of Fernandes, if Saka is out long-term, slight preference for Fernandes, but I also like Amad Diallo, and he's arguably the best budget midfielder right now, although Rodgers will be close. Yeah, I'm going to say Fernandes at the moment. Is there any chance the Everton game is cancelled? No, I don't think so. Don't know what makes you think that. Went for Rodgers over Pedro right at the death. Phew. Fair play. That was one of the scenarios where I leaned towards Joao Pedro, but he's never scored against West Ham. That's 6 games now against the Hammers, no goals. And in the last 5 games, also no goals. He's been an awful signing for me. Yep. For me, it's Amad Diallo or Rodgers coming in for Mbumo if Saka is somehow fit for the next game, which is the ideal scenario. Otherwise, I'll have to address that situation and just buy Isak. I'm going to buy Isak. He's probably going to get injured again, but honestly, I'd rather just buy him in and he doesn't do anything than just not have him and he does amazingly well. I don't think Isak is essential, but he's very close to that on his current form. The next 3 games are tough on paper against Aston Villa, Newcastle, Aston Villa United and Tottenham Hotspur, but he could easily score in every single one of those games. He's also got 2 goals in 3 matches against Villa, including a brace last season at home, so he could certainly do well. I went with Strand Larsen, benched Rodgers. We'll see how Strand Larsen does tomorrow, but that's probably a massive swing against you, to be fair. I got Isak in for the Leicester game, and he's been my best asset since. Yeah, good time to buy him. I've been recommending him so much in the last couple of weeks, and unfortunately, because of my defensive woes, I haven't been able to find a way. Duran looked good. Think still going Joao Pedro to Wood tonight. I agree. I think Chris Wood is still the better asset, and Ollie Watkins will take minutes and starts off Duran. That's going to be a position I'd rather avoid from Aston Villa. The only Villa asset I really recommend is Rodgers, and that's been the case for a few months now. I'll personally say it's time to add City to the target each week group of Leicester, Southampton and Ipswich. On current form, yes, but I think it will change and they will go, maybe not on a run, but they won't be this bad. And so, let's say, vulnerable and worth targeting. I do think they will switch things around, but based on the recent evidence, it's very difficult to see that. Can we accept that Brentford are not as good when facing the top 6 at home? Well, Forest are currently top 6 and they've had a great season, but look, maybe Brentford's fixtures at home have been too easy. So now you'll see a regression there. They've got Arsenal, Liverpool and City at home fairly soon. But I still think they can get a result against one of those teams, especially City with how they're doing. Yeah, Isak is probably rising tonight. Let's go through some different screens since there's going to be a lot of questions about predicted points, price changes and all that. So let's go to that right now. There have been some changes. At the top, we've got Liverpool, the table toppers. Man City, Crystal Palace, Fulham and Spurs are in the top 5, but maybe with Man City, every single fixture should be a purple or should we say a red, because every game is difficult for them at the moment. 1 win in the last 12 matches is crazy. In the bottom 5, we've got Ipswich Town, Leicester City, Wolves, Brentford and Everton. Predicted points, Salah goes back to top with 8.7 against Leicester City. Palmer, Saka if he's fit, which looks very unlikely. Haaland and Isak are in the top 5, with Cunha, Gabriel, Robertson, Havertz, and Jackson in the top 10. So as you just asked, these are the predicted price rises. Isak went up yesterday, and guess what? He's probably going to go up again today. He's already reached a threshold of over 100% in the progress, according to live fpl.net. By far the most reliable site I found in terms of predicting price falls and rises. Raul Jimenez, Robinson, Gabriel Jesus, Salah, Collins, and Gakpo are projected to go up in price. The only one I'd definitely not recommend from those is Collins. Don't invest in Brentford defensively, especially with those fixtures. As for price falls, there's a lot of players here. Delap, Harvey Barnes, Romero, Smith-Rowe, Calvert-Lewin, Diaz, Wout Fass, Vicario, Sugawara, Erling Haaland. Oh my God, what's happened to him? Bradley, Willock, Idrissa Gana Gay, Ait Nuri, Joelinton, Buonanotte, Mitoma, Sinistera, some budget player, let's not even talk about him, Lewis Dunk, who got an assist today, Ryan Fraser, Target, Endo, Kelly, Somerville, Buendia, and Rodri. But I think all eyes will be on the price rises, and Isak is just being bought and bought. If it wasn't for Saka's injury, and that's why I kind of held off not buying Isak just yet. I was going to buy Ahmad or Rodgers for Mbumo, but yeah, good thing I didn't make that transfer early. I'll probably just wait a couple of days and then reassess. But yeah, I want to buy Isak. He's going to be in my team. I'm just warning you now. So if he gets injured or does crap again, you can blame me. But yeah, it is what it is. Let's go to this poll I put out earlier. And as someone said in the comment section, maybe if I made this poll yesterday, the result will be completely different. But Rodgers is leading with 59% of the vote over Amad Diallo as the best budget midfielder out of the two. And if you want to add all more options, I think Iwobi, Smith-Rowe, and Enzo Fernandez would enter that sort of top 5 category. So yeah, this is what I tweeted earlier, and I mentioned it at the beginning of the stream. So I bought Isak a couple of weeks ago against West Ham, where I was very bullish on a return. He's got a great record against the Hammers. He blanked, fair enough, that happens. Then he plays Crystal Palace. He gets injured around 21 minutes. And Saka, meanwhile, in the 2 game weeks there, gets 18 points against West Ham and 13 against Nottingham Forest. So I decide, you know what, I'm just going to buy Saka because I had him early in the season. I shouldn't have sold him. And guess what happens? I sell Isak. He was doubtful going into the Liverpool game. He scores an assist, gets 11 points. He hasn't blanked ever since. He gets a hat-trick, his first ever one at Newcastle, while Saka gets 4 blanks in a row. Thank you, Bukayo. And he gets injured at the very same stadium, Selhurst Park, around the same minute as well, if I'm not mistaken, around 24 minutes. So I don't know what kind of juju this is, but fuck off, FPL, yeah? Just please fuck off. I want some points. I want to enjoy stuff. And with Arsenal, you know, it's a 5-1 win away from home, and I can't fully enjoy it because Saka might be injured for a couple of weeks, maybe months. Hopefully that isn't the case, but it doesn't look good. Let's go to Drafthound now. There is a link in the description below. I'd highly encourage you to check it out. The top recommendation is Semenyo to Ahmad, which is a perfectly reasonable transfer suggestion, but unfortunately, Semenyo might have to live to fight another day, and either Saka or Mbeumo will make way to fund Isak up front. Robinson to Hall is their second recommended transfer, which I do disagree with, to be honest. Mbeumo to Diaz, and then Jackson to Gakpo. But I'll be honest, I think Jota will be highly recommended by Drafthound in the coming weeks, and he might be one of my punts, actually. If Saka's out for the long term, Saka to Jota and then Cunha to Isak is right on radar for me. And it also gives me enough money to upgrade my defensive line or upgrade Joao Pedro to Chris Wood, whilst also buying Rodgers or Amad Diallo for Semenyo. So there's a lot I could do in the coming weeks. It will all be covered on my channel. Let's check out the top captained options, and no surprise here, Salah with almost 80% in terms of captaincy in the top 100k. Palmer second, and those that went for Isak, fair play. 17 points, hat-trick, his first ever one for Newcastle. Saka, though, unfortunately for those that went there, gets injured in the first 24 minutes, so not really much you can do there. Let's see how Fernandes does tomorrow. Mbeumo disappointing, but given the recent returns, I can forgive him, to be fair. Haaland, Cunha, Iwobi, Jackson, and then you've got a lot of different options like Amad Diallo, Bowen, Jimenez, who I'm backing to do well against Southampton, Wissa, Robinson, and then the others option, which is going to be interesting indeed. Let's go to fpl.team. So this is kind of a sneak preview of my squad going into next week. So yeah, I mentioned it just a few minutes ago. Jota for Saka and Isak for Cunha is definitely a consideration for me. And it's also a nice differential over Christmas going for Diogo Jota, who is so clinical. Even off the bench, he can score. So that is definitely something I'm looking at. And FPL Challenge, not too shabby. At least I've got Isak in this bloody format. He scored a hat-trick. Very soon as the bonus points will be added in FPL and Fantasy Challenge. Mbeumo blanked, but because home players get double the points, that's a 4-pointer from him. The same goes for Gabriel with the assist, but he also got booked, and Crystal Palace scored the equaliser at one stage through Ismail Assar. We'll see how the rest go on tomorrow, but my full focus, of course, is FPL, and guess what? It's bloody going horrible. Let's go back to my team, answer your questions, keep on dropping a like, and also subscribing to the channel. Check all the links in the description below for Drafthound, my Patreon and the championships, the Discord server, FPL League, Spotify, and much more. Bench Rodgers on Aina, that's really unlucky, mate. I'm not going to lie to you. And I don't know who you started, but I think at least one of those would have been very reasonable. Welcome, Beardy. Good to see you. And apologies, there's a lot of comments coming in. And yeah, I actually feel bad for you, Dylan. That's crazy bad luck. Look, I'm not the only person in the world that's happened to. I'm not going to play victim. I'm just saying, I'm just pissed off about that sort of thing because it happened to me. And you just got to firm it, right? I think I had a similar situation with Pascal Gross last season, although you could argue that's not as bad. But I basically had him for 3-4 weeks in a row. He kept blanking. I sold him. He gets a double-digit haul. Then he gets like 5-6 returns in a row. So I hate Pascal Gross as well, by the way. Good thing he's not in FPL anymore. Dylan in foul form. Yeah, no, it's just a bit of fun, right? A bit of fun. I don't have the money to move to Isak and only one free transfer. Either hit time or just sell Gavardio, this for budget. Do you not have Saka? Goldhead. Do you not have Saka? Because if you do, that might be the cash cow. I'm not so sure he's going to be available very soon. Nice one, Adam. Good rank. Saka to Bruno, Cunha to Jesus. I see what you're doing, and Jesus has been brilliant, but I'd still rather buy Chris Wood, Jackson, and Isak, if I'm being honest. But Jesus, on current form, would be top 5 forwards, but I'd still be a bit careful with him because I kind of know him a bit too well at the moment. Now I just take a hit, give it about FPL. This week took a -8 and bought Hall and Isak. Wait, you're buying them for next week? I mean, Isak is completely fine. I think Lewis Hall will blank in the next 3 though, if I'm honest. But then again, I thought Ipswich would cause problems today, and I was very wrong. Best Pedro replacements, Chris Wood at a similar price. Benched Hall last week and Rodgers this week. Yeah, very, very unfortunate. Yeah, I honestly didn't expect. Look, with Rodgers, I did say it was a good fixture for him, but I'd be lying if I said, yeah, he was going to score 14 points. I never expected that. Cunha needs to score 4 goals tomorrow for me to get a green arrow. Yeah, I mean, look, never say never, right? I think a brace, I'd take that, all day long. You'll probably just get 2 points, or maybe a brace of match suspensions. Cunha to Isak party, bring your own glasses. Yeah, well, my eyesight is terrible for a reason. I should have just done this bloody transfer this week for a -8 hit, but yeah, I thought it was worth keeping Cunha and Mbeumo this week. I thought both of them would do well, but I got it wrong. Vishal says, I have Isak and Pedro, so who should I buy for Cunha? Budget 9 million. Yeah, Jackson for me would be the top one, but don't buy him just yet. Let's see if he gets booked against Everton tomorrow. If he does, then definitely don't buy him just yet, but otherwise Chris Wood would be next. And if you want to take a punt, Gabriel Jesus would be afterwards, but I'd still prioritise the other 2. Can't sell Gavardio against Everton in it, and I'll get Payne again. Well, you could. I think any team in the world right now could cause Man City problems. I think they're downing tools. That's the way it seems. The second goal, brilliant play by Rodgers, but Man City players backing off, giving too much space. I don't know. There's something pretty wrong there with the citizens. Yeah, look, I'm not surprised. It's probably a hamstring problem. We saw something similar with Isak a couple of weeks ago against Palace. Not the crutches, though. That injury, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to see it, ended up being, not that deep. Is Bruno a sensible replacement for Saka? He's basically a defender with how deep he's playing. I'd rather go for Amad Diallo at this moment in time. It also saves you a lot of money. And if you're looking at 7 to 8 million midfielders, my favourite, apart from Mbeumo, would be Diogo Jota. And that's what I'm looking at right now. But Fernandes is fine. I don't think he's a terrible choice. I have Isak, vice-captain, goddamn Salah. Mate, at least you got Isak, Take those points and enjoy them. I do get the frustration, but were you actually considering it that much? I think some people were. That's why they're frustrated. But there's a few people that might have Isak vice-captain, but they were always going to captain Salah in the end. No, they're in my team. -8 fully paid by Isak and Hall. Nice. Good stuff there. I should have done the same thing in terms of buying Isak for -8. Cunha and Saka out for Bruno and Isak. Overall, I'd say yes. I don't think Saka will be available anytime soon. That's just my opinion, and a lot of people feel the same way, but obviously the best thing to do would be to wait. Isak is going up in price tonight though, so you might want to pull the trigger. In terms of Saka replacements, I'd be looking at, apart from Palmer and Salah that are very obvious, I'd be looking at Jota, Mbumo, although investing in him right now is a bit awkward, and Amad Diallo. Rodgers I wouldn't buy this week, but maybe the week after. Benched Aina and sold Rodgers. Yeah, very unfortunate to be fair. Will you bring in Bruno for Saka? Probably not. It's a chance. I'm not going to discount it fully, but I'm more likely going to buy Jota, to be honest. I don't think he starts against Tottenham, but I'm backing him to get maybe not the 90, but the nod in the starting 11 against Leicester City. What are the chances Cunha misses tomorrow? I couldn't tell you, mate. I mean, the way this week is going, just expect Cunha tomorrow morning. Oh, you know what? He's actually suspended right now. Yeah, cheers. Yeah, but if we're being logical about it and, you know, the FA aren't being twats, then I'd say probably a 70-80% chance that Cunha plays. I think it'd be very, very weird if they made the punishment now, after the deadline. Of course, it's not like the FA will care about FPL deadlines, so to speak, but to do it on the day that Wolves play, that would be a bit of a weird decision. Lately, Arsenal players have been a pain in FPL. Yeah, I agree. Mate, ever since I bought Saka, he's been terrible and he gets injured. Raya's been okay for me, to be fair, and Gabriel, the yellow flags have made him a bit of a concern for me, and it hasn't been that enjoyable owning him, so I do understand where you're coming from. And the goals have been spread out, especially today. Cunha should have gone to Specsavers, yeah. I never go Specsavers, by the way. That's probably why I'm so terrible at FPL. Thank you, Dylan, for telling me to play Rodgers over Semenyo. Cheers. I'm glad to hear it. Look, in certain scenarios, I recommended benching Rodgers, but for those that did that, look, you got to take the rough with the smooth, and sometimes you get these massive benching points and massive swings against you, and it happens. I've had it with Isak, selling him at the wrong time, buying Saka at the wrong time. If it wasn't for these sort of things, FPL, you know, would be a completely different game. Only have 9 points, Saka, Timber, Gavardia all blanked. I might be more humble than Haaland. Not sure about that, mate. Ever since he said that, he's got, what, 3 goals, and Man City have 1 win in 12, so yeah. Well, to be fair, ever since he said that, they did beat Southampton, and yeah, so who cares anyway? Haaland got humbled for now. I love FPL managers who bench Rodgers, hoping Cunha to be banned. Yes, but hopefully he doesn't get banned. I don't want those jammy points off the bench. Sorry, lads. Thank you. Any chance Saka will drop in price tonight? I don't think he'll drop in price tonight, but I think by tomorrow or Monday, yes, it's very likely. I can have another look for you now, but I'm going to put the link in the chat. So yeah, check out that website. It's very good. So if we check now for projected price falls, or let's actually search for Saka, make it easier. Yeah, no, he was nowhere near a price drop. But yeah, according to their projections, tomorrow we could be looking at a Saka price drop. And I think it's best to wait for all the games to, you know, come to a close before making a decision. Maybe Arteta has an update. Let's actually have a look now on the internet and see if anything has been reported on Bukayo Saka. But I'm sick and tired of these injuries. Maybe it's about time that Saka got injured, because Arsenal rely too much on him. He plays every single bloody game, and they should have found a replacement. So as somebody said in the live chat earlier, I'm looking at the video now, Saka has left Selhurst Park on crutches, and he has picked up a hamstring injury. You know, FPL and Arsenal double whammy there. Not looking good, but we could be looking at a few weeks here. I'd still wait for more information in terms of definitive updates. You can be surprised, but I'd be shocked. I'll be honest, I'd be shocked if Saka is available, you know, not just by the end of the year, but I'd say by the next 5-6 game weeks. Saka to Odegaard, not a bad shout, but I'm less keen on Odegaard now than I was when he first came back from injury. I think if you're buying an Arsenal attacker right now, it'd be Gabriel Jesus and then Kai Havertz next in line. Gave Cunha one more chance before using the wild card and getting in Isak, and Isak gave 14 points. Don't want to burst your bubble, mate. It's 17 with a bonus, but yeah. Thoughts on Foden? He played well today, and also against United, he had some good moments, looked very sharp. So if you were going for a City player, he's probably the preference there, especially as a punt in the midfield. But I'll be honest, if I'm looking to replace Saka or make a transfer there, I'm looking more at Jota, to be honest, but Foden isn't too shabby. Yes, Sar got another goal today. 17-pointer against Brighton recently too. But yeah, as a budget option, I don't think it's terrible. Palace have good long-term fixtures, but I'm still looking at Diallo or Rodgers more longer term, and then Jota, who's a bit more expensive. Maybe at Sar's price, around 6 million, you know, he'd be one of the better ones. I don't disagree with you there. But yeah, I'm looking at other midfielders. My cup opponent has Murphy captain and also Isak and Jesus. Rip. That's very unfortunate, mate. Thoughts on Saka to Son? I'm not that keen on Heung-min Son right now, but there are some good fixtures for Spurs. They're going to score goals, but I think they're going to spread them around. I think Maddison, Kulusevski, and maybe Johnson would offer better value. But yeah, you know, if you're happy with the rest of your team and the structure you've got, yeah, I think Son will be one of the best premium replacements for Saka. But of course, Palmer and Salah are on a different level. No news on Konate, nothing, you know, in terms of the last few days or anything. You know, his injury is 5 to 6 weeks. How long has passed now? It seems like all a blur. It was like 2 weeks ago now. So I think in 3 to 4 weeks' time, he should be available, but he might be eased back into things. If Saka is out, Martinelli was quite good on the right. Yeah, I agree. I think Martinelli, we did see him in that position against Everton last season in Gameweek 38, and he played quite well. Whenever he plays there, he's actually, you know, more threatening. So that could definitely be a solution for Arsenal. If Jesus wasn't so promising up front in the last couple of games, he also would have been an option on the right. Raheem Sterling needs more minutes. He hasn't been a good signing so far, I'm not going to deny that, but I also think he hasn't been given enough opportunities, especially in the Premier League, and he has had some good moments, particularly in the Carabao Cup. When the bonus points will be released, I'll be up to 73 this week. Yeah, that's a really good score. I'd take half of those points at least, cheers. But yeah, bonus points should be added by 9 PM UK time, so within the next hour. Son or Bruno for Saka? Slight preference for Bruno, but at the same time, if you're going for Amad Diallo, I'm not that convinced about doubling up on United attack, especially in the midfield. So it all depends on those sort of circumstances. I think they're both good choices. There's not much separating them. Spurs will score more goals, but at the same time, Fernandes will get more bonus points, and he's more of a talismanic figure for Man United compared to Son right now with Tottenham. If I'd bought Isak in my team for Cunha, he would have blanked and Cunha would get a hat-trick. It does feel that way, doesn't it? But we'll see what Isak does when I buy him in. So yeah, that'll be interesting. I can't guarantee anything either way, Easy99. The fixtures coming up are tough, so to speak, on paper, but I think he'll still do well, just not to the same level. He'll probably blank, you know, once or twice in the next 3, and people will blame me. It is what it is, but I don't want him to keep going off without owning him. Was told FPL was meant to be fun. Yeah, it isn't. It isn't. It's just it's a terrible game. Having one transfer a week definitely says otherwise, in my opinion. Yeah, I wish I was in a stronger position, and maybe I've jumped a bit too much in recent weeks, and yeah, I've lost a lot of points as a result. Nice, cheers, mate. Looking like Jesus going to be a regular starter now. Yeah, with his current form, he can't be dropped. He will blank very often, you know. Before the Palace game in midweek, he had 1 goal in 26 games. It was over a year since he scored at the Emirates. So the 17th of December, 2023, he scored against Brighton. His next home goal came against Crystal Palace on the 18th of December, 2024. So yeah, he's not going to be a consistent goal scorer for me, but the form he's in right now, everything's going in, very close to a hat-trick, but still got an FPL assist with that Kai Havertz rebound. And just the overall performance is really encouraging. Arsenal really need Jesus and the others to step up in Saka's absence. Really like Jota as an option, but can't see him playing all these games. Yeah, I agree. Jota will be a punt for me. And my plan at the moment is to bolster my midfield. So assuming Saka's out, which is likely, Saka to Jota is an option for me. And then I could do Semenyo to Rodgers or Amad Diallo. And then possibly, if needed, I could also sow Mbumo and then rotate between those options alongside Palmer and Salah. And of course, Isak up front is the priority. I will buy him in this week for a hit. Just warning you lot. But yeah, Jota won't start all the games and he probably will get injured very soon. If I didn't get Isak for Ipswich, so I was going to wait till 21 as the fixture's mixed. But now a Saka out might just do it. Yeah, I completely get your reasoning there. I still like the next 3 fixtures though from an attacking perspective, and Newcastle are in good form. That's 6 wins out of the last 10 across all competitions, and Isak's been on fire ever since I sold him. May I add. Just got to have that little dig in there. Yeah, I think Jesus could be a trap. I'm not really disagreeing with you there. I do prefer Chris Wood at a similar price, and then of course you've got Jackson and Isak. They should be the priorities, but wait and see if Jackson gets booked tomorrow first. I think Jesus could be a good choice, but I'd wait at least 1 more week. I know you're missing a great fixture in Ipswich Town, but could it be the case of Jesus doing really well in front of goal against the same team? It could be the case. Is KDB injured again? Surprised he didn't come off the bench today. There are rumours about kind of a rift and some beef between him and Pep Guardiola. There might be something to it. I honestly have no idea, but normally Pep says if you're on the bench, you're ready to play. So I don't know. My guess is he isn't injured. It's very strange, though, for him not to play a single minute. Rasak says 47 points so far, Captain Isak and kept Rodgers. Yeah, I think those that had both of them will do really well. And then Captaining Isak, of course, will put you up another level. Gabriel's on fire midweek also. Yeah, but it was the same team, Crystal Palace. And look, it could be worth a punt. Over Christmas, Jesus living up to his name, yada, yada, yada. But I still prefer the other forwards like Chris Wood, Jackson, and Isak. They're the three priorities for me. Yes, I do have Ahmad already, so I don't want to double up with Bruno. Yeah, exactly. I think in your case, I'd probably lean towards Son. I don't think that's a bad, logical decision there. FPL was nasty when you couldn't roll 5 transfers. I'll be honest, I was quite skeptical about 5 transfers this season, but I do like it. It's just a shame I never bloody get to 5 transfers. I'm always trigger happy. I think the most I've gotten to is 3 or 4. Jesus captain against Ipswich on Christmas Day and scoring a hat-trick. What a gift for Christmas. Well, yeah, technically the game's on Boxing Day, right? But I get your point. It's in the spirit of Christmas. I hope he continues it. And honestly, I don't mind another hat-trick from Jesus. He was so close today to scoring back-to-back hat-tricks. Who do you think will replace Saka? For Arsenal, it'd be Martinelli on the right. Jesus will continue to play down the middle and then Trossard on the left, as we saw towards the end of the game. That's the most likely scenario, but maybe Sterling. I mean, I just don't see that happening, but that's another option. Sterling can play on the right as a direct replacement, and then you keep Martinelli or Trossard on the left. Mateta or Jackson, or was that Gakpo? My preference would be Gakpo, but there will be rotation there. Until Fernandes starts on the number 10 behind the striker consistently, I don't feel it makes sense to pick him. That's fair. Also, let's hope Jesus is back for the upcoming fixtures. We need it. I completely agree. Yeah, if Jesus continues this form, he doesn't need to score every game, by the way, but if he can do those little passes, those touches, flicks, the brilliant all-round play, and he scores every 2-3 games, I'd take that, and I still think Arsenal need a striker and probably another winger, but it's a step in the right direction from Jesus. I've benched 175 points. Anyone got more? I haven't been counting, but I'm fairly sure I've got nowhere near that amount. That is staggering. Will Duran start regularly, then Watkins? I mean, based on current form, yes, you'd back Duran to start the next game, but over Christmas, I think they'll rotate overall, with games coming thick and fast, and I don't think Duran will be nailed on, so to speak. In terms of replacing João Pedro long-term, it's still Wissa for me, but if I'm buying one now, it's Chris Wood. Yeah, Duran could be a good João Pedro replacement, but I'm a bit concerned about his minutes. You could say the same thing about Jota, by the way, who I'm looking at myself, but I think once Jota is fully fit and ready to start, I think he'll be the number 1 striker for Liverpool, and I can't say the same thing about Duran with Watkins breathing down his neck. Maybe that's the wrong way to phrase it. Saka, why is a good option? Last week's is the worst, because I bought him. 61 of Isak, captain, nice one. Sell Enzo for Ahmad. I mean, I'm not so sure about it. I'd probably keep Enzo for now, but my favourite Chelsea triple up has always been Palmer, Jackson and Sanchez in goal, if not a defender. But if I'm buying a budget midfielder at the moment, it would be Ahmad. I'm not sure if I'd sell Enzo though. Triple captain Salah versus Leicester, definitely on the cards. I mean, they were so shaky last week. Definitely, what I'd probably do is wait until tomorrow's games are done, of course, and we'll see how Leicester get on against Wolves, and of course, Liverpool against Tottenham. But it's definitely a shout. It'd be right up there in my list of single game week triple captaincies. Aina on my bench. You're not the only one, mate, but I do feel for you. It's a lot of points. I think somebody here actually had Rodgers and Aina on the bench, so yeah. Saka out, Jota in. I'm looking at it, Gary. I'm looking at it. And then I can buy Isak for Jackson. I'm joking, I'm not selling Jackson unless he's suspended, but nah, it'd be Cunha. I had Gabriel, I held him for 3 games, including Champions League. I had to sell as I didn't have any bench. I bought Timber and it's just been depressing. Yeah, they both got booked, but at least Gabriel got an assist. And then obviously last game, Gabriel got maximum bonus. Timber's still a good option, but I did talk about this last week with you. I did recommend keeping Gabriel, but I don't blame you for your decision. You're a bit unfortunate with the swing of points because they're both playing in the same defence, right? And the assist today was a bit jammy, so to speak, or not the best assist you'll ever see. Bench Wissa, Rodgers, or Enzo? This week, I'd actually consider benching Rodgers. And of course, in a lot of scenarios heading into Game Week 17, I was talking about starting Rodgers. But Newcastle away, yeah, Newcastle have a brilliant record against Aston Villa. At least in the last 2 games, they battered them on 2 occasions. Yeah, I'd consider benching Rodgers. That's my current preference. Chris Wood already in my team. I want a striker under 6.5. Jimenez could be a choice for you. Otherwise, what we're looking at, Gabriel Jesus maybe? He's 6.7, and of course you're very bullish on him. Yeah, I'd be looking at Jimenez potentially, but then Chelsea away, kind of an awkward time to buy him, so I'm not so sure about that. I'm more bullish on Jimenez for this week against Southampton. He's got a great record against them. I just lost serious rank. Jesus, Isak destroyed me. Yeah, same here, mate. Same here. I'm sorry, mate. I'm buying him. I'm going to buy Isak, so just lock your seatbelts and hope for the best. Bruno or Bowen for Saka? It'd be Bruno out of the 2. James George says, I benched Rodgers and decided against captaining Isak in favour of Salah. Yeah, bad swing, but at least you've got Isak. Look on the bright side. If I had Isak, I'd be doing the same thing. Trust me, I wouldn't be so pissed off. 0.1 million in the bank. Saka and Cunha to Ahmad and Isak can't fit Jota. Nah, I like that. Yeah, I think those are great moves. I'd probably do them. Now, Isak is going up in price tonight, but you could afford to wait until tomorrow's games are done and then pull the trigger on those moves. I think Saka and Cunha could go down in price tomorrow, and Ahmad could go up in price on Sunday as well. So you could actually have nothing left over in the bank, but you have more information after tomorrow's games are done and dusted. So that would be my advice. Make the moves, but do it tomorrow if you can. Rodgers, and finally on the bench, luckily I have Isak captained. You win some and you lose some, right? At least you got the Isak captaincy. Watkins to Isak is a no-brainer right now. Yeah, but I'm still bullish on Jackson. Those 2 are the best forwards in the game by some distance, but Isak has been brilliant. Plans with Saka? Buy Haaland back? No. I'm buying Isak, mate. That is my priority. I mean, Haaland's blanked how many times recently? For 15 million or 14.8, 14.9, it's way too much money. I'm not looking at Haaland right now. My bench sells Rodgers and Aina. Oh, that's tough, man. That's really tough. If you bench boosted, you'd be a very happy man. I have Souls on the bench, played Fabianski, so half decent. Yeah, of course, it ended 1-1. That's the only prediction I got right today, by the way. I said 1-0 Arsenal, was 5-1, but at least I got that one correct. Saka to Rodgers and Joao Pedro to Jackson. Yeah. If I'm buying a budget midfielder this week, though, it'd be Amad Diallo against Wolves. It was a 4-3 filler. Thriller at the Molineux last season. Diallo didn't feature in that game, but yeah, I'd still prefer Amad Diallo over Rodgers this week. There isn't really good strikers, to be honest. Yeah, I agree. I mean, maybe how do I say this? Over-exaggerated or was hyperbolic when I said there were more forward options than midfielders. But I think in both areas, you're kind of limited in terms of consistent options you can rely on. Up front, you've got Isak, Jackson, and Chris Wood for me. After that, you're kind of entering punt territory with Gabriel Jesus or maybe Raul Jimenez. In the midfield, apart from Palmer, Salah, and Saka, who's now injured, you're looking at Mbumo, Jota's a punt, Amad Diallo, Rodgers. So, yeah, it's interesting times in FPL. I was going to keep Gabriel, like you said, but might have left with 1 defender and didn't have a lot of budget. Yeah, no, I understand that. Look, like I said, you had reasons for doing it. It's just a shame that the swings went against you that way. KDB for this week, I wouldn't be looking to buy KDB. His minutes will be all over the place. Didn't even come on today against Aston Villa. Sarr or Iwobi as a Saka replacement. I'd take a punt on Sarr because of the fixtures. Now, Fulham's are also good, don't get me wrong. I think they're both good choices, to be fair. Already have a Liverpool triple up, can't get Jota, fair enough. Yeah, out of those, I'd probably go for Sarr, but there's not much separating them. Cunha ban, Jackson, 5th yellow, Saka injury, another -4, -8 incoming. Well, Cunha was going to be sold for me anyway, but I think he'll play tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, if Jackson gets booked, then as you say, Cunha gets the ban for Game Week 18. I mean, big trouble. But I'm taking a -4 anyway. You know, that's my plan. It's just, who do I sell in the midfield? Is it Saka? That's the most likely thing now. Otherwise, I'd be looking at selling Mbumo to fund that Isak move. I got Isak, Murphy, and I got Rodgers and Aina bench. I'm pissed off. Yeah, but you got Isak and Murphy, mate. So, Yeah, the benching thing is annoying, but you've got a very good Newcastle duo there at the moment. Terry says, is it worth going for Duran for Joao Pedro? I already have Isak and Jackson, by the way. Yeah, you got the two best forwards. And should I sell Aina for Munoz for the long run? No. I like Munoz for the long-term fixtures, but I did say this in today's stream, actually, so you can watch that. I'm not lying, trust me. I did recommend keeping Aina, Sells, Milenkovic, because long-term Forest have decent fixtures, and they can go away from him against Brentford, who have the best home record this season, get a result and a clean sheet. They go to Stamford Bridge, 1-1 draw, beat Liverpool, the table toppers, 1-0 at Anfield, so I think they're worth keeping, to be honest. As for your first question, Duran is a decent punt. I just don't like his minutes in the long term. I think Watkins will take minutes and starts off him. But right now, he is first choice. You can ride the wave. But I'd rather go for someone more reliable like Chris Wood. Thank God I didn't listen to all the content creators this time that advised me to bench Rodgers for Joao Pedro and not take a -4 hit to replace Isak with Cunha. Yeah, look, that's why I said it to someone earlier when they were saying I was going to captain Palmer, but because everyone's captaining Salah, I'm going to captain Salah. I did recommend in that sort of scenario to back your gut and obviously take what a content creator says with, you know, a pinch of salt. You know, you can gain some value from it, but ultimately you make the decisions and you've got to own it in terms of responsibility. Full crook for 1 week? Nah, not for me, mate. Not for me. I mean, yeah, it's a great fixture. It's just, I'd rather just invest somewhere else. Helen needs to say sorry to Arsenal for saying they to stay humble. I'll be honest, I found it funny because Arteta's not, well, he hasn't been arrogant to City at least. I don't really see where the comment came from, but it was a very heated match. We were starting to get a great rivalry forming between City and Arsenal, and now, you know, City have just fallen off completely and Arsenal haven't really taken advantage. So, very funny season we've got here. Best midfielder for 8.5 million. I'll be honest, I think Jota will be at the top of my agenda. Maybe I'm overhyping him a little bit, and I know his injury record and the minutes, all of that stuff, but that springs to mind for me. Jackson could get yellow tomorrow, and that's 3 players out for Gameweek 18. Yeah, let's not manifest that. Let's think positive. Thoughts on Jesus versus Ipswich? Look, it's a great fixture. He's in brilliant form. I don't mind it. It's just, for people looking to just invest in Jesus and rely on him, I just urge a bit of caution, that's all. But apart from Chris Wood, Jackson and Isak, I don't see many forwards really taking the mantle. So if I'm buying a forward this week, apart from Isak or Jackson, I think Jesus would be next in line. He could be a trap though. I think that's definitely worth mentioning. Already have Salah, Palmer, Ahmad and Iwobi in the midfield, and Joao Pedro, Wood and Isak in attack. Yeah, that's solid. You could, if possible, upgrade Joao Pedro to Jackson. Otherwise, it might be a bit difficult though. Arsenal are unlucky to keep a clean sheet tonight. Saliba should have thrown a tackle at Sarr instead of letting him take a shot uncontested. I'll be honest, I think Palace deserved to score. They probably could have scored another one. They had 3 big chances in the end. You're right though, Saliba had a nightmare in the first half. He was terrible. From that perspective, maybe, you know, if he didn't make that mistake, Arsenal keep a clean sheet. But also Raya, I think his mistake gave Palace a bit of confidence, and then straight afterwards Sarr scored. So, yeah, I just think Arsenal weren't that secure in terms of the midfield, controlling the transitions. I think that was solved when Havertz came off for Rice. I was calling out for Rice all game, and even Carragher, I think, on commentary also did the same thing. So, yeah, once Rice came on, brilliant cameo, by the way. Probably the best substitution performance I've seen in a while from Arsenal. He got the goal as well to wrap things up. It was a good performance by Arsenal, but in the end, I think there were some shaky moments, and Palace could have made things very difficult. I know it's just a game, but this stream is therapy for me tonight. Yeah, I get that. People always say that when they're doing poorly. Yeah, hopefully you can gain some value from this. Thank you, Morsan, for the super chat. Saka to Jota and Hall/Greaves to Trent -4. I'd definitely sell Greaves and keep Hall. I'm not backing Newcastle to keep a clean sheet over the next 3, but Lewis Hall is a long-term hold, and the last 2 clean sheets and the big return against Leicester will make him a viable option long-term. And yeah, I think Jota would be right up there in terms of Saka replacement, so I'm on board with that, even for a -4 hit. I'll be honest, Mark, I'd love to get Isak again and jinx him, so just wait and see. But I might wait until tomorrow, after the games are done. But I'll be honest, if we get like an update from a reliable source saying Saka's out, I might just pull the trigger today. And then it's just about, who do I buy? Is it Jota? Do I go for Ahmad, Rodgers, and then just buy Isak for Cunha? Saka out today, there'll be more tomorrow. Hold your transfers. Yeah, look, he was on crutches though, going out of the stadium. It looks like a hamstring problem, but I agree. I'd try to hold him for now. and wait for more information, but I do think he was going to be a sell. I'll talk about him in the transfer tips, of course. Guess who I benched out of Rodgers, Joao Pedro and Saka? Yeah, Rodgers, unfortunately. To be honest, though, I don't really blame you. I did actually, I was asked earlier, I can't remember the exact scenario, but someone asked Saka, I don't know who the other options were. Was it Enzo? And I actually said maybe bench Saka this week, but if he stayed on the pitch, he would have done well. So, yeah, a bit unfortunate in that regard. Arteta said he was worried about Saka's injury. Looks like he'll be out for some time. Yeah, if you can trust Arteta, that is, but I think he's right here. Jota and Isak or Foden and Jesus? Jota and Isak. Mate, if it's Isak in anything, I'm going to say that. I think he's a brilliant player here. Yeah, if Haaland apologised to Arteta, it might turn for City again. Nah, the problems are much deeper than that for City. Unfortunately, for their perspective, I thought we was going to get a really good title race, by the way. You know, the way Liverpool started, you know, Arsenal and City, the rivalry brewing up after Game Week 5, I was like, you know what? It's going to be like last season, but better. Hasn't really turned out that way, but maybe Chelsea will make things interesting. Alex says, very tempted to pack it in after this game week. I don't blame you, mate. If I didn't do videos, I wouldn't be logging into this game again. Took a -4, benched Aina, Rodgers, and had Saka. Mate, it's like watching The Office UK. It's making me physically cringe seeing that. It's just unfortunate, man. It's just, what can I say? Peter says, very happy that I took a -8 to get Isak and Murphy. Nice. But who should I bench for Game Week 18? Joao Pedro, Murphy, or Enzo? Okay, so closer to the deadline, I'll give you a more definitive answer, but my current thoughts on that, it's quite a difficult one, actually. I would probably bench, I mean, based on recent form, you have to say Joao Pedro, right? But I'm going to say Enzo Fernandez bench right now, for my sins. Quoting David Brent there. Taking Saka out for funding, Arnold or Jackson? I'd rather go for Jackson if he's not suspended, but wait until tomorrow. Best replacement for Saka and Jimenez. Yeah, I'm not sure about replacing Jimenez per se, but it would be Chris Wood. Son and Havertz or Foden and Gakpo? As a duo, I'd go for Son and Havertz. Any positive vibes around Gordon at the moment? Not really. I think Isak is by far the best Newcastle asset. Then you're looking at Hall in second. Gordon would be like a third supplementary option, but I don't think you should triple up on Newcastle. So, yeah, in the midfield, I'd rather go for Jota, Mbumo at a similar price. You can go for Ahmad or Rodgers at an even cheaper price point, not to mention Salah and Palmer. So, look, Gordon's okay. He's doing well recently, but even Jacob Murphy is arguably a better option on current form. Thoughts on Maddison, the most underrated asset in the game? I mean, that might be a debate. You know, he has been slowly, well, maybe not slowly, he's been silently getting along with his business. He's got decent goals and assists compared to games. I'll be honest with Maddison, it's a similar pattern every season. He starts brilliantly, then he gets an injury, comes back second half of the season and is terrible. Will it happen again? We'll wait and see. For now, you can ride the wave and invest in him. I don't mind that. I think a Spurs attack is viable. But I also think the goals will be spread around for Tottenham Hotspur. From an Ipswich fan, I reckon Greaves comes in next week for burgers. Yeah, I appreciate that. And yeah, Ipswich Town will need to be on their game against Arsenal next week. But Ipswich, look, I'm surprised by the result today. I thought they would cause problems. The lap suspension was obviously a big blow. But defensively, I was very concerned about the number of big chances Newcastle had. Yeah, I think you might be onto something there. And of course, you know more than I do. Bonus points are in. Isak and Rodgers looking pretty good right now. I don't know why the hell I'm even going to refresh this. Yeah, I've got no bonus points, so I'm going to keep things as they are. By the way, Veltman, shout out to Veltman, the ghost of Christmas. I bought him 4 weeks ago, and he's finally back, but he got booked just before the first half closed. He was on my bench. Yeah, 1 pointer. Meh. Vandenberg injured. So basically, Veltman's injured, but I got Vandenberg available. They're both useless. Vandenberg gets injured, but Veltman's back. So they're both pretty much not really contributing towards my team. Right, says Thunder. Yeah. Look, things will turn for you. My team is a shambles, says Twisted Parky. Cunha, Vandenberg, Twanzebe, Saka, and possibly Jackson out. I'm thinking Bruno and Isak in for Cunha and Saka, risk the defence, then 19 Munoz in, or Wood for Pedro. Pedro is also terrible. That's coming from a Brighton fan, by the way. Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree with you. You might even want to take another hit to bolster your defensive line, but I think you're on the right path. I think in terms of prioritising, Bruno and Isak looks really solid. Now, you can make a debate about the best midfielder to buy to replace Saka, and maybe Fernandes isn't at the top of that list, but he would be up there. The goal is to move Raya to Alisson and Wissa to Jackson after next game week with a -4 and hopefully no price changes as I have the exact money now. Fair enough. I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure about Raya to Alisson for a -4. It's not like Liverpool have been brilliant defensively, especially since Konate's been injured. So I'd reconsider that. I know Arsenal should have conceded more than one today, or they could have at least, but I still think they've got the best defence. If you look at the expected goals conceded figure, at least before this game week, Arsenal were top of the division. Come on, people, it's Christmas. The least you can do is give Dylan some likes. Thank you very much. Yeah, we've got a lot of people watching, by the way. These Saturday reaction streams are always very popular amongst the FPL community, and I do appreciate that. Let's get the likes up to 200. That's our overall aim. And for those watching on the playback too, thank you very much for your support. Check the links in the description below. The Patreon, the Championships, Discord server, FPL League, Drafthound, Twitter and Instagram. It's all there. You can basically find me by typing FPL Dylan or Dylan RCM. It's very easy to find me on all those social media platforms. Sell Pedro. If you're in a position of strength, then yes, I would. Now, I'll be honest, my prediction for Joao Pedro is he's going to be sold by a lot of people now, with Brighton's fixtures turning for the worse, and he's going to start doing well. If you look at his returns this season, a lot of them have come against the big sides like Man United, Arsenal, etc., Man City. So he's a bit of a funny FPL option. Isak in for Cunha and Saka for Bruno. Yeah, -4, that's absolutely fine. But I would also consider Jota, Amad Diallo, Rodgers, or perhaps Ismaila Sarr. But yeah, Fernandes will be up there. I'm just kind of giving you other options to consider over Bruno Fernandes. Bruh, so difficult. I'm in the same boat. Do we pull the trigger tonight before the price changes? Arteta ain't going to give F all away. That's true. I personally think Saka's out for a long time, but I'm not going to be priced out. If Saka's injured and I sell him anyway to Jota, I've still got a lot of money in the bank to buy Isak for Cunha. So from my perspective, I'd rather wait for more information. I think that's the logical decision to do. But in recent weeks, I've made early transfers and yeah, they've gone tits up mainly. So we'll wait and see, but I think it's probably best to wait a little bit. We're not going to get anything from Arteta, but I think some reliable sources could provide some injury updates on Saka. Thorson Evanilson to Isak and Saka to Jota -4. I'm on board. We will be there. I think that is a good -4 hit. 25 points so far with 5 or 6 to go. Decent. Good position to be in. I think you'll get a green arrow, although it depends on your rank. Unless we get a dodgy Christmas photo with hidden clues in the background, says Twisted Parky. Yeah, that's true. Thank you, Jellyfish Potter. Benched Rodgers for Pedro. Yeah, Joao Pedro's been a nuisance, man. He's got 1 assist since I bought him in. Back in Game Week 4, I bought him. He got injured. I don't hate him, but I don't like him. Instead of Sarr, what about double up on Newcastle attack? Yeah, Jacob Murphy's another one. He deserves more recognition, to be fair. I mentioned him briefly when discussing budget midfielders. I think earlier today I was asked about the best 5.2 million or under midfielder, and I said Enzo and Murphy, but yeah, I think that looks pretty good. The thing is with Newcastle, though, the next 3 are tough on paper. I could see them slipping up in 1 or 2 of those matches, but Isak will still do really well, and Jacob Murphy is a very good budget midfielder on his day. Animation says Saka and Van Heck to Son and Hall for a -4. Loving the look of Hall and Robinson rotation. Cheers, Dylan. Thank you very much. It's an awkward time to buy Hall, in my opinion, and don't get me wrong, if I'm wildcarding, he'd still probably feature as a 4th or 5th defender to rotate, as you say, but over the next 3, I don't think he'll return. And then again, I thought he'd blank in one of the last 2, and he did really well. But yeah, good transfers overall. I think that will definitely help your team. I don't see Saka being available anytime soon. Thank you, Joe, and Stan St. Irons Camas. Thank you very much. Yeah, Mbeumo's still good, and I've always said this. The only reason I'd sell Mbeumo is to make way for Isak, Jackson up front, to buy Palmer, Salah, and Saka at the time, get Trent, Gabriel, etc. in the defensive line. But otherwise, as for midfielders, who are you going to? Maybe Jota? In my case, I'm probably going to sell Saka, though. Must be time to move away from Brentford. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm quite happy to keep Mbeumo, but it all depends on Saka's injury, which is probably serious. Vandenberg, yeah, I mean, brother, what's that? You know that meme? Yeah, I want to get rid of Vandenberg, I'll be honest. I don't want him. Jota and Isak or Foden and Jesus? Jota and Isak. Is Solanke worth it? yeah, he's decent. He'll get returns consistently every 2 or 3 games, but the goals will be spread in that Tottenham attack, and he can be frustrating from time to time. What will Man City's position be at the end of the season if City keep struggling? Well, if they keep struggling like this, they're going to finish mid-table easily. But I think they'll turn things around, relatively speaking, but tough to see them finishing top 4 right now. I mean, Chelsea, Liverpool and Arsenal are definitely better. And, well, at this moment in time, every team in the Premier League is probably better, bar Southampton. Bumo, sell or keep? I'd say more of a keep, but I'll be honest, if Saka was available and there was no doubts about his injury and stuff like that, he would have been my cash cow for Isak. And that was my plan. Sell on Boomer to Amad Diallo or Rodgers. Now I have to reassess. Thoughts on Kirkes? Yeah, I think some of the good fixtures have gone. Bournemouth got some good games until Gameweek 21, but I don't see many clean sheets for the Cherries. He's going to get a few attacking returns from time to time. I think he's a decent option to rotate with your other choices, but yeah, I think I'd rather go for Munoz right now. And then you've got Lewis Hall, Robinson, Colwill, maybe Castagna or Anderson. Not to mention Gabriel, Timber, Liverpool defenders, etc. Do you think Mbeumo is actually worth buying this week for Saka? I actually don't mind that too much, to be honest, because the other options at a similar price that I like would be Jota, who's more of a punt than Mbeumo. I think Mbeumo played well today, by the way, just didn't get the goal or assist. Man City, because of the struggles, that's beyond the downfall for a team like them. It's very strange to see a team really fall in level in the same season because they started quite strongly. They were unbeaten until Gameweek 10, and they won the first 4 matches. So, yeah. I think Saka will be out for 3 to 4 weeks, at least. That's my personal take. I hope I'm wrong and he's back sooner, but I'd be very surprised. James says, I have Isak, Wissa and Raul. If I can't afford Jackson, who will be the best option under 8 million? Chris Wood for me. Afterwards, if you want more of a punt, Gabriel Jesus, maybe Christmas, yeah. But it has to be Chris Wood. Thank you very much, Animations. Pedro is a fraud. I'm inclined to agree, but he is a budget forward after all. Boxing UFC fan? No, I'll be honest, I'm not. I've seen a bit of it. I've stayed up until late watching both of them with friends who are more into it, but yeah, I don't go out of my way to watch them, to be honest. Pedro is not a number 9. Brighton need to play Ferguson. Pedro plays off the striker. I miss Welbeck. I agree. I think that's a very good assessment. Hurstler's done a good job, by the way. He's a young manager, but he has made some mistakes, and that is probably one of them. Jordan Carr says Saka to Sarr and Cunha to Isak tonight for free. Yes. Now, Sarr's not the only midfielder you can buy, but he's quite appealing. Rodgers and Livramento were on my bench. It's not my season, I'm afraid. Yeah, I don't really blame you. I'm not sure you started instead of them, but I don't think it's like a bad decision on paper. I don't think we need to wait for Arteta to talk about Saka update. Saka probably out for a couple of weeks. Yeah, I agree. It's just also when I'm looking at my replacements for him, I'm not quite decided yet if it's going to be Jota. Do I go for Son? Do I go for Fernandes? Let's actually break that down a little bit. So let's get this on the screen as well. So I could do something like this. Cunha to Isak, it's happening. Okay, sorry, enjoy your Isak points. They're coming to an end. But yeah, buying him and then Saka out. And I've got 8.6 million. So I can't afford Son, but I could go for Bruno Fernandes if I wanted to. Not too sure about it, to be honest. And by the way, FPL have changed the FDR today after the Gameweek 17 deadline passed, and everything is grey now for every single bloody team. I mean, look at this. Before, for Chelsea, I kept describing it as a sea of green in the FDR. Not anymore, mate. Look how many greys there are. But yeah, Bruno Fernandes could come in. If not, I'd be looking at Ismaila Sarr. Also Amad Diallo, Rodgers, and I think my main punt, if I want to, go against the crowd a little bit, would be Diogo Jota. I think he'll be benched against Tottenham, and if that's the case, I'd be more positive about him starting against Leicester. He's not going to be a consistent starter for the next couple of weeks, in my opinion, but he should be the number 1, or the first choice number 9, should I say. We'll wait and see, though. He is an injury-prone player. His minutes will be managed, but that would be one of my favourite punts over Christmas. And I've still got 1.4 million in the bank. I can use that to upgrade Van den Berg. I can also do Joao Pedro to Chris Wood. If Gabriel Jesus is still doing brilliantly, I can buy him, but I don't want to jinx Arsenal players. I've had enough of that. Last week, Lewis Hall. This week, Rogers gave me a huge rank boost, 129k, 1,033 points, 5 to go, Salah captain. Cheers. Nice. Good to see a good anecdote, a good story, because a lot of pain seems to be in the chat at the moment. Which Arsenal player will step up now that Saka is injured? Well, Rice was amazing off the bench. Jesus, man of the match and deservedly so. He was just exceptional again today, beyond the 2 goals. FPL-wise, I think the best one would be Havertz and Jesus right now. But overall, it's Odegaard. Just making the team tick and making sure that Arsenal are still creating chances, because without Saka, that is a massive blow, especially in terms of creation. But yeah, Odegaard would be the one overall. Yeah, Hall for me is better long-term, as Henderson is my main keeper. Think I'll make the move soon. Yeah, a lot of early transfers are going to be made. We do have a quick turnaround between Game Week 18 and 19 at least, but yeah, next Friday is the deadline, so be sure to tune in for that. I like your idea of Jota in. However, what do you think about the competition there is Diaz and Gakpo? Yeah, it's a big concern for me. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I don't think Jota will start every game, and I personally think he's benched tomorrow. And to be honest, if he starts tomorrow, you know, I'd be less inclined to buy him against Leicester. So that's why I may keep Saka for now. Obviously, how do I say this? Avoid Isak for now, not buy him before the price rise, and then just have more information by tomorrow. Somebody had captain Jesus in the deadline stream, I remember. He'll be partying to no end tonight. Yeah, Isak captain as well. I wish I had a captain like that. Then again, it's been good for me recently with the armband. I can't complain too much. Havertz or Jesus? I mean, normally I'd say Havertz, but Jesus will be playing up front, whilst Havertz will be playing in the midfield. And to be fair, he played well today, but yeah, a lot of times I don't like Havertz in that position. Right now, I'd probably say Jesus, Christmas spirit and all that, and I'd go for Jota. Diaz hasn't scored since September, by the way, in the Prem, which is quite surprising. Do you think no Saka will affect the Arsenal attack going forward? Yes. Now, today, they did very well in his absence. They scored some goals, created a lot of chances, and it was more, maybe not dynamic. That does sound harsh. I do think Saka does get doubled and tripled up on a lot because he is the best Arsenal player. But yeah, I think it will affect Arsenal going forward. They're going to have to find different ways to unlock defences. Martinelli on the right, you know, he was actually quite decent. Had some promising situations, scored a goal as well when he went back to the left. But that could cause more variations in terms of winger swapping, Trossard and Martinelli, Sterling if he ever gets a chance. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of changes. Now, you nailed that meme impression. Thank you. I won't lie, I've done it a bit too many times. Yeah, let's not go into that. There's a few other voices I can do, but it's probably best if I have my ugly face not in camera, not in the screen. Otherwise, you're going to be thinking, what the hell am I watching? Morsan says, is it even worth to get Cunha out for a -4 if I can start Rogers and Semenyo? It's not the worst in the world. I'll be honest, though. I think Rogers blanks against Newcastle. Semenyo against Palace, it's just Semenyo's been quite poor as an FPL asset. Yeah, Isak and Jackson, you've got the 2 best forwards. I'm quite envious of that. I mean, it depends who you can buy for Cunha, right? Because if, for example, you didn't have one of Isak or Jackson, and Jackson doesn't get suspended tomorrow, then I'd say, yeah, just do it. No qualms about it. But in your case, you might be right. Maybe you don't need to take the hit. 47 points so far with 5 to go. Happy. I captain Isak. A few captainers of Isak in the chat, so fair play. Brother, yeah. If Saka's out for a month, you'll miss 6 game weeks. Surely Bruno's minutes better than Jota long term, and he's on pens. Yeah, Bruno's also a bonus points merchant. Not merchant, is a bonus points machine. I mean, Fernandes is shameless, by the way. You know, he missed that stinker against Man City. You know, an absolute howler. Then he scores a penalty and goes like, "Get out of here, man." Even I was watching over United friend, and he was saying that guy's shameless. But yeah, as an FPL asset, I agree. I think he's a decent choice. He is playing deep at times, though, especially under Ruben Amorim, and that will be the main concern for a lot of people. Thank you, Rabbi, for the super chat. Very generous of you. And yeah, brother, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say the rest of it because people are like, mate, just talk about bloody FPL. But thank you very much, Rabbi. Hopefully you're doing much better than I am. Manu, I'm buying Isak. I'm sorry. It's happening. It's done. It's just a question of who do I sell in the midfield to make that happen. So you heard it here, folks. Let's get those likes up. It's free to hit the like button. Thank you very much. Very kind of you. How do you say the deadline is Friday? I am stupid, aren't I? Yeah, Christmas is on Wednesday. Yeah, it's on Thursday. Bloody hell, I'm an idiot. Yeah, it's on Thursday. Apologies for that. So quick turnaround, and that means I'll try to get the content out as soon as possible. But of course, I'd rather focus on quality than just getting it out there first. But yeah, I'll try to get the transfer tips out on Monday. On Tuesday, the best wildcard team selection on Wednesday, and then the deadline stream on Thursday. Reaction stream maybe on Friday. I'll let you obviously know in due course. I wonder how many games Cunha will be banned for. If it's 2 games or less, I'm keeping him. I could sell him or Joao Pedro in one move to Jesus. I think it's going to be more than that. My original prediction was 3 to 5. And that's what I said in the previous reaction stream. Hoping Salah scores a hat-trick. Spurs defend struggles without Romero and Van der Ven, but Spurs likely to score. Yeah, you're right. I think they struggle even with those 2 defenders, and they're good individual players. But Spurs, as an organisational unit, they're very, very suspect. Should I keep Bruno or sell him? Probably keep Bruno for now, to be fair. I think Wolves away is a great fixture. We'll see how they get on tomorrow under Vitor Pereira. Thing about Jota, Slot likes to rotate his attacker, except Salah. You're right. The thing is, though, if we look at Jota's minutes earlier this season, let me actually break it down. Looking at the Premier League specifically, and I do recognise he's not going to start every game, but before his injury, Jota played 78 minutes, 71, 75, 59, 0. I think he was injured around that point. Oh no, he was on the bench actually. Yeah, he was on the bench but had like a little problem. Then he got 90 minutes against Wolves when I sold him on my Gameweek 6 wildcard. Great times. 90 again against Palace where he scored the winner. 29 minutes against Chelsea where he got the injury. So, yeah, I get what you're saying. He's going to have those cameos off the bench, but the good thing about him is he can come off the bench and score like he did against Fulham last week, and he'd done it many times last season against Burnley, I remember, at Turf Moor. That's what I like about Jota. So even when he's benched, not all is lost when that happens. Not for me, mate, sorry. And I said this earlier in the deadline stream. Haaland missed another big chance today. He will come good eventually, but is he worth that price? Maybe with no Saka, you can make a case for selling him and redistributing the funds, buying Haaland up front. Okay, fine, but I'd rather buy Jackson and Isak up front, if I'm being honest. Thoughts on Saka to Maddison and Pedro to Isak -4? Good moves. Like I said with Spurs, they're going to share the goals. Maddison can be frustrating. He's injury prone. He has a great first half of the season, then he just gets injured and disappears for the rest of it. But as long as he stays fit and continues this form, I don't mind that. Saka to Bruno or Sarr or Gordon for a -4. Slight preference for Bruno. I think it's probably in the way you structured it. So Bruno first, Sarr second and Gordon third. If Saka's out for a bit, should Arsenal make a loan offer for Marcus Rashford? Not for me. No. Rashford doesn't offer enough defensively and he's such a purple patch player. And look, if you sign him on loan and he gets a lot of goals and helps Arsenal win the title, then okay. But I don't see that happening, to be fair. It could be another Sterling situation again. Can Santa bring me 3k points for the rest of the season, please? Yeah, we're probably asking for a lot there. He's not a miracle worker, unfortunately. 8.8 for Isak, damn. He's going up to 8.9, mate, tonight, as covered earlier. So, yeah, and I'm buying him. So many choices. The easy choice is getting Isak and Bruno in, but obviously part of me wants to do something different. Yeah, hence why I'm also looking at Jota. But also with Bruno, he's not like it's not like the Bruno of old, right, where he was such a great FPL option and you had to have him at one point, it seemed. It's not the case anymore. And you've also got Amad Diallo, who's even cheaper and getting very consistent returns. Farid says got Saka for 10.3 million and now he's 10.6. To be honest, doubting to sell him, even he gets injured for a while. He could be out for several weeks though, mate, and I don't think it's worth keeping him for that time. Thoughts on Gvardiol with the upcoming fixtures? I mean, he's got the attacking potential. He missed a big chance today against Villa. So that could be a decent punt, but I'd rather invest in Arsenal or Liverpool defensively at a similar price. I don't have Palmer. Have been desperate for a way to get to him. Enter Saka. Yeah, maybe that'll be a blessing in disguise for you, relatively speaking. And you're going to have to hope that he stays quiet tomorrow. Ori says too much FPL and not any F1, if I can remember in a long time. What do you think about Lawson to Red Bull and all other moves? Yeah, look, Lawson has been decent whenever he's got an opportunity, but not entirely sure about it. I've got some doubts about it, and it does seem like the Red Bull second seat is kind of cursed. I mean, the team is obviously built around Verstappen. All the other moves, I mean, what, Sainz to Williams, I think he'll do a decent job there. Obviously, a shame that Colapinto is not going to have a seat next season. what else has happened? I mean, yeah, Hamilton to Ferrari is the big one. I mean, if Ferrari have a competitive car, I think Hamilton wins his 8th World Championship. Do you think Diaz starts against West Ham and Leicester? And if so, he is worth it, you reckon? Only reason I'm not playing Jota is because I'm worried he doesn't start. I don't think he starts both games, Diaz. No. And recently we've seen Gakpo and Nunez get the nod. I'd rather go for Jota over Diaz. I captain Isak saved my day, with many players blanking with a -8 still green arrow. Fair play. I wish I also went for Isak. Even if I didn't captain him, I would be very happy. After today, I hope the Egyptian king will give us a record haul tomorrow. I'm conflicted. I mean, in a perfect world, Spurs-Liverpool draw, Salah gets a brace or a hat-trick and I get points and the result I want, but it's not happening, is it? Who can I upgrade to get Trent, Gvardiol or Dalot? I'll be honest. I'd rather sell Gvardiol right now. Can I play Enzo, Ahmad and Rodgers rotation with 2 of them playing every week? I mean, you could. I'd ideally want someone at a more expensive price point or more reliable. My preference would be Rodgers, Ahmad, not have Enzo, and then go to an Mbumo/Jota or Bruno Fernandes instead, but that's my personal opinion. Should I hold Haaland, bro? Saka may be injured. I mean, the fixtures are there, but the form isn't. City are just in complete crisis mode right now. It all depends on your budget. Are you limited with the rest of your squad? Have you got a decent bench? There's a lot of things that go into that. So if you've got a good team overall, then yeah, keep Haaland. Who would you bring in instead of Saka? Jota's up there for me. A Spurs midfielder or Bruno Fernandes, but I'd only have 8.6 million in the bank, soon to be 8.5 million because Isak is rising in price tonight. So that's something else to think about. Ismail Assar could be another punt for me. Amad Diallo and Rodgers. Those are the pool of players I'm looking at. Will it be possible that Cunha could play the next game? Well, I think he's going to play against Leicester tomorrow. And against United, yes, it's possible, but I wouldn't count on it. And I'm still going to look to sell. People who play FPL and talk about F1 are my people. Thank you, Rabbi. I used to do F1 fantasy content back in the day. That is a good fantasy format too. I buy Robinson and sell fast. Yeah, good transfer for me. What you said about Saka is true. Analysed by a professional physio who plays FPL. Yeah, I've seen that account before. I'll have a look now on another browser and see what he says. But I'm assuming he's not going to be very optimistic about the prospects. So yeah, Saka out of a right hamstring injury. He felt it immediately when trying to cross the ball. Not a good sign. Based on footage, he's out for at least 3 to 4 weeks. Yeah, a lot of people have said the same thing. That's kind of my prediction at the moment too. Hopefully it's sooner than that, but it's not looking good. Majid says, I have Saka, Nuri, Verbruggen. Was thinking of a -8 to bring in Odegaard, Van Dijk and Alisson. Thoughts, please? Good transfers overall. I'm just a bit unsure about a -4 hit involving a goalkeeper. I'd probably wait for that a little bit. So keep Verbruggen for now. And as for midfielders, I'd definitely consider Fernandes, Jota, Mbumo maybe, Maddison, Kulusevski instead of Odegaard, but not bad. Wissa price will drop, right? Went to him to drop price to save a little money when the price will drop. I'll have a quick look now since I did cover the price changes earlier. Let's see what LiveFPL.net have cooking at the moment. Let's see what they've gone for. Yeah, the site is freezing at the moment. I'll just go back to what I've got here to make it simpler. So let's go for Wissa. No, doesn't look like he's going down in price anytime soon. So, yeah, shouldn't be too shabby. My team is a shambles. Yeah, I covered that earlier, Twisted Parky. It's good transfer plans overall. Just maybe reconsider Bruno Fernandes. I'm not saying you can't go for him. He's up there in terms of Saka replacements, but you've also got Maddison, Kulusevski, Ismail Assar, Amad Diallo, Rodgers, not to mention Enzo Fernandez if you want to go there. And others would include Son. There's a lot of players, to be honest. Not many standouts, though. My favourites are probably Mbumo or Jota. Mbumo to Enzo, Wissa to Isak next game week? Yeah. Or maybe Amad Diallo / Rodgers instead of Enzo. That's my preference, and I've said that even earlier today. I sell Cunha before this game week and sell Mbumo and get Isak and Enzo. Nice. Good stuff. Saka 1 point. No, he started at Virat. He got injured. He's probably going to be out for a couple of weeks. Not sure you got a lot from Jota on this slot's got a slot for him. Fair enough. Nice wordplay. Need to replace Pedro in the next 2 days before I go offline. Yeah, I get your conundrum. I mean, look, it's not the worst time to make early transfers in this kind of hectic schedule where you've got games every 2-3 days and the deadline is on Thursday, on Boxing Day. Is Henderson a long-term cheap keeper out of the question? I don't think he's bad. My favourite Palace defensive coverage would be Munoz, who is a yellow card merchant, but he's got the attacking potential. Henderson's been doing well up until this game week, of course, where he had a howler against Arsenal. Yeah, Sells is probably the best budget goalkeeper, so to speak. My favourite overall would be Raya or Sanchez. The thing about Jota for me is I think him coming off the bench is not a worry at all. Yeah, exactly that. Always seems to impact games and scores against anyone and can play multiple roles. Yeah, the only downside to Jota is the injury record, and as a result, the minutes can be all over the place at times. But if he stays fit, he's going to be a very good option over Christmas. Isak landed on 17 points. Yeah, let's not talk about that again. I'll buy him, and we'll see the 2-pointers and 1-pointers he gets soon. Is Saka injured? Yes. We don't know how long he's going to be out for yet, but a lot of people do expect him to be unavailable for the next 3 to 4 weeks. Cunha or João Pedro? I mean, if Cunha could stay suspension-free, I'd still go for Cunha, but yeah, I'd probably be looking at selling Cunha first. Mbuma to Enzo, yeah, covered that. Thoughts on Wissa, should I sell him? Yeah, my favourites would be Jackson and Isak to replace him, otherwise it's Chris Wood. Then you're looking at the other forwards, maybe Jesus as a pun, or Jimenez. You could just keep Wissa, in my opinion. I'm going to say something controversial, but do you really think Hamilton just walks into Ferrari and gets over Charles? He was shameful in quali all season and also a new team? No, not necessarily. But I think Hamilton will maybe not be the main man, because Charles has been the golden boy for Ferrari for many years now. But, I mean, Hamilton is a 7-time world champion, and if you give him a car that can win, he's going to compete all the way to the end, right? So, yeah, it's not a guarantee. I think it'll be close. I think Leclerc, well, he's one of the best qualifiers in the grid right now, if not the best. But I think in terms of race pace and, I don't know, that winning mentality, Hamilton will definitely have that in abundance over Charles Leclerc. If Cunha plays, hope he gets some points because I've got Rodgers on the bench. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people right now are hoping that he doesn't play, so they've got the 14-pointer from Rodgers. Is it safe to say City are a targetable fixture? No, yeah, they have been for weeks now, but I do think they'll turn things around, and they've got a good fixture run coming up. But I don't see them winning all of them, of course. I mean, they're so vulnerable. Saka replacement. I mean, out of those players, Mbuma might be my favourite, but a bit awkward buying him in at the moment. I might even sell him. Another would be Jota, and I mentioned all these players earlier. Kulusevski, of course, Maddison, you said. Rodgers, Amad Diallo, Ismail Assar. That would be the pool of players I'd look at. No worries to Stupaki. Yeah, I think YouTube are being more aggressive at adverts recently. I've literally got the sayings the same as before. You got me. I'm joking. That was not a good impersonation. Hi, Dylan. Worth doing Saka to Son or Saka to Fernandes and Pedro to Jesus as a punt? Yes, they're all good moves. My favourite would be Saka to Fernandes right now, but Son is fine. Took an early -4 hit. Saka to Ahmad, Joao Pedro to Isak, 2.7 million left in the bank. Yeah, just in time for Isak's price rise tonight. Another one, by the way. I'm probably going to wait myself, but yeah, I think selling Saka looks like the way to go. Do you think I should hold on to Wan-Bissaka? I mean, if you can sell him, I would. I talked about this weeks ago. I just don't like him as an FPL asset. Zubi says, thoughts on Saka to Jota and Strand Larsen to Jackson? Yeah, really good moves on paper. Jota's minutes will be kind of all over the place, but if you can stomach it, I think he's a good choice. I had the option of selling Bowen for Ahmad / Smith Rowe Iwobi and selling Cunha for Isak on 2 free transfers, and I chose not to. Right now, I'm punching the wall. FPL can make you do that, right? I'm still regretting not taking a -8 hit for Isak because of how well he did. Captain Isak and have Aina wanted to take Saka out for Kulusevski. Well, you got 2 things right at least, and keeping Saka is not a bad option. Just a bad outcome. 35 points so far. Good score. Yeah, you got a lot of bench points. It could have been an amazing week for you, but still some time. Hi Dylan, I did a -4 for during the week gone. I got Salah and Isak and sold Haaland and Gordon. Hope Cunha doesn't play. I have Rodgers as first sub. I think Cunha will play, but we'll see what happens tomorrow. Good -4 hit. Despite Gordon getting an assist, it paid off for you, big time. Yeah, I just covered that with Saka. I don't want to go into that too much, and for the transfer tips video, I'll discuss the best replacements for him if needed, which looks very likely. Nicholas Curtis says, was planning Cunha to Wood tonight, but now is Saka out injured now. Would you get Jesus and Bruno to replace or Jackson and 8 million or below mid? Jackson. But don't do it tonight, because if Jackson gets booked tomorrow, you're buying a suspended player for no reason. So wait until tomorrow and then buy Jackson and Jota, for example. Do you think Jesus will start games now? Well, yes, with his current form, it'd be stupid to bench him. Saka to safe, Fernandez or punt on Jota? At the moment, I'm leaning towards Jota. I'll discuss that in my team selection video because that will probably be what it comes down to. The 2 Portuguese internationals, or maybe I go in a different direction entirely. What to do with Verbruggen? Don't have money for Alisson or Raya? Maybe go to Sanchez. Yeah, Sanchez could be the one. And aside from F1, I think 8 Nuri to Munoz today. What do you think I should do with Matoma? Sarr, I think, is the exact same player type. Not really like any mids or forward apart from Jackson. Yeah, I like Munoz as a long-term pick. I think Matoma is sellable, and Sarr would be a decent choice to replace him, if not Amad Diallo or Rodgers. I already have Amad and Enzo. I'll get maybe Maddison or Rodgers. That's fair. Not a big fan of having free budget midfielders, though, personally. Selling Saka for Haaland, not good enough for me. I agree. But the fixtures are there for City, but not really feeling it. Forest's defence, highly underrated. Yeah, I mean, they have been battered a few times recently against City and Arsenal, and of course they conceded a few against United, but yeah, on the whole, they've been one of the best defences in the Prem. That's why their away record is so solid. Replacing Wan-Bissaka with Robinson or Colwill in terms of a similar price. I didn't start Rodgers, I'm going to cry. You're not the only one, mate. There's a lot of bench points going around this week. Not from me, I've got no points anywhere. Abdul Rahman says, sell Saka and Cunha, buy Isak and Jota for a -4. Yes, would be my answer. I already have taken a -8. Cunha, Dibbling and Saka for Isak, Sarr and Foden. I know Foden is City, but got to have a City asset as a City fan. To be fair though, Foden played well today, rewarded with the goal, a bit fortuitous. Luka Dean obviously effed it up. And he had some moments against United where he looked dangerous, so it's not the worst pun in the world. Abhishek says Timber, Saka and 4.4 million forward to Trent, Rodgers and Jackson for a -4. Yes, overall I'd do it. Not a big fan of selling Timber, but Trent is arguably an upgrade. And instead of Rodgers, I'd consider Amad Diallo, but that's fine. Yeah, Duran's an upgrade on Joao Pedro. Anybody is at the moment. But I'm not a big fan of Duran because of the rotation with Watkins. Easy99 says, this is my current transfers in. Player right now. Number 1, Isak. Jesus 2nd. Duran 3rd. Amad 4th. Rodgers 5th. Yeah, good list. I'd personally put Amad above Duran, but that's all personal preference. And Jesus could be a trap. Hopefully not. Team of the week has 115. Just like Man City. Joking. Yeah, I wish I had half of that. 28 points of 7 to play. Good position to be in my opinion. I'll discuss this in the team selection, but Isak is coming in. That is going to happen for Cunha. Then it's just about selling Saka or Mbumo. Probably Saka, with the current information we've got. And then I'm looking at Jota, a Spurs midfielder. Maybe Ismaila Sarr, Amad Diallo or Rodgers. It's all up in the air right now. Rodgers and Aina on my bench. Yeah, a few people have said that. Very unlucky. My current preference is Jota, but Fernandez is a good option. Charles says, thoughts on Saka to Gordon and Joao Pedro to Isak for a -4. Good moves. I'm not bullish on Gordon like I was last season. He was one of my heroes FPL-wise in the last campaign. I'd rather go for Jota, Bruno Fernandes, Sarr, Amad Diallo, Rodgers, the midfielders I've discussed recently, even a Spurs one like Kulusevski or Maddison. Nice one, 44 points. Wait, oh, -44 points. What's that about? Oh, right. 115 points and -44. Huh, still way better than me. Maddison is still the best replacement for Saka at the time. Yeah, look, he's up there. Maddison deserves more credit. He's been in brilliant form. Enzo, of course, with a great purple patch. I mean, for me, it's not really an option, but for some people it will be. Rodgers being a top 5 transfer in at the moment just shows you how cracked out FPL managers are. Rodgers was one of the top 3 transferred up players just a couple of days back. I mean, people points chase all the time. I've done it myself, I'm not going to deny that, but this is definitely a case of points chasing. I think he'll blank against Newcastle. Thoughts on Saka to Jota and Semenyo to Bruno for a -4? That could also wait 1 week. Yeah, good moves overall. You could arguably wait for Semenyo to Bruno, but I do like United against Wolves away. So yeah, Saka first, so transfer out priority. Haaland second, Cunha third, Welbeck fourth, Watkins fifth. Yeah, good list. You could arguably put Watkins higher, but I understand why you put it that way. Yeah, Jacob Murphy's definitely a shout. He's been in great form, but Newcastle's next 3 fixtures are nowhere near as good as Leicester at home and Ipswich Town away. They're going to be competitive games against Spurs, Man United and Aston Villa. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Duran because of the minutes. I think Watkins comes back in eventually, especially over Christmas. Not sure, Justin. I don't think I'll do them tonight. I could, if I just want to jinx this straight away, but I think I'll probably do them tomorrow. I'll keep you posted, and of course in the team selection, hopefully by then, I would have come to a decision at least, but maybe just make the transfers. This is the current transferred in players right now. Isak, Jesus, Duran, Ahmad, Rogers. Yeah, we'll be following those trends in the Transtips podcast coming up very soon. And also the transferred out players. Am I reactionary for doing Cunha, Isak, Saka, Bruno to avoid Isak price rise? 0 in the bank right now. Oh yeah, if you've got nothing left over and you're going to be priced out, then yeah, I think those are good moves. But let's say, for example, you wait until tomorrow's games, you've got more information, but you are priced out. Maybe instead of Bruno, you can go for Jota, or you can go for Maddison, Kulusevski, Ismail Assar, all the midfielders I discussed just now. Even Amad Diallo, I don't mind going for him over Bruno, to be honest. Would Saka to Sarr or Ahmad to fund Cunha to Isak be a good choice, considering I have Semenyo and Rogers already next to Salah and Palmer? Yeah, no, I think those are excellent choices. My only concern is that your structure might be, maybe not inflexible, but I'd rather have a more expensive midfielder since you've got 2 budget options already in that position. To have 3 might be overkill, but that's definitely a debate, and there have been some good budget midfielders recently. Eze also good, but why are people saying Jota's minutes are not good? Well, Eze didn't play today because of injury, but he should be back fairly soon. Yeah, Jota's minutes are not good, but he was injured. When he was available, he was getting consistent starts, right? Am I reactionary for doing Cunha to Isak, Saka to Bruno? Yeah, covered. Who would you sell between Cunha or João Pedro? Well, if Cunha wasn't going to be suspended, because I think he will be, it would be João Pedro making way. But Cunha's more expensive. Wolves have terrible fixtures, and I think he'll get suspended for a couple of games eventually. So it's probably going to be Cunha. Worth doing the Saka to Bruno, Cunha to Isak today before Isak price rise, or better wait? If you can, I'd wait. But if you're going to be priced out and you want Bruno and Isak, then go for it tonight. But it all depends on that. I got 30 so far. It won't be Hattie incoming. Hat-trick of points maybe, but yeah, it won't be hat-trick, just sounds too unreal. Who is the 3rd best striker right now? Chris Wood. D-Trader says Saka, Cunha and Nuri for Bruno, Jackson, and Gabriel, Foden, Jackson and Robinson. Bruno, Jackson and Gabriel, but both duos are good. Isak the saviour this week? For me, he's the villain, and we'll see next week. If Saka is injured, do you think De Bruyne is the best high-risk, high-reward replacement? I'd rather go for Jota, in terms of that category you're saying. I'm not sure about buying Solanke. I think he's a decent forward. He'll be quite consistent, but I prefer Chris Wood, Jackson and Isak. Those are the priorities for me. But maybe Solanke's 4th or 5th in that list, maybe. How did your FPL challenge go? Not great, but not the worst. I've got Isak, at least. I've got him in a bloody game. In Bumo blanked, but got 4 points. Gabriel, 4 points. So not terrible, but only 22. Wait, what? Oh, yeah, I haven't... Wait, what? Oh, for some reason my bloody thing's not working anymore. 1 second. Don't know why this is happening. I hope this hasn't been the case for the whole stream. I don't think it has. It's just randomly stopped working. Just give me a second. Alright, this should work now. Alright, so yeah, 25 points. We'll refresh it because this got 17 bloody points. So yeah, that is my current score. Not great, not terrible, but FPL has been a shambles so far. That is putting it lightly. I'm confirmed Cunha to Wood by mistake this week. Am I in trouble? I would have kept Cunha this week, and I did say that in the deadline stream earlier, but I mean, we'll wait and see. I think Cunha will start tomorrow, and it's a good fixture. On Jota's slot, we'll look to rotate him a lot. He does that with returning players. Possibly. I mean, Jota is always going to be a rotation risk or be an injury concern. Best midfielders under 5.2. Enzo Fernandez and Jacob Murphy, same as before. What about doing Saka, assume he's out, to Foden, Gordon? Then the forward line will be Isak, Jackson, Wood, Højlund, Gakpo. I'd go for Chris Wood, but yeah, looks solid. I'd rather go for Foden than Gordon, but both of them aren't having their greatest seasons, especially Foden. The fact you answer all your comments is so unique. That's part of why I love your stream, so engaging. Thank you very much. I'm glad to hear it. I try my best. And yeah, it's good when it's a bit chill. I know we've got a lot of people watching, but the live chat is manageable at the moment, which is good to see. But I do encourage more questions, more comments. Let's keep it going. I will probably wrap things up fairly soon, but yeah, there will be more streams and videos coming along your way over the next few days, ahead of that Boxing Day deadline on Thursday. MVRX Rapids says, I had Rodgers on the bench, just typical. Only 10 points with 6 players left. Yeah, not good so far, but you've got 6 left. That's not a bad position to be in. Not terrible anyway. I was closing in on the top 10k, but now I'm fucked. Yeah, FPL can do that. Just when you think you've got it figured out, boom, it just hits you. Just like life. Okay, let's not get deep. Max says, I want to change Saka Foden for the next 3 game weeks. Exact time when Saka's injured. Do you think it's a good idea? Look, Foden has been decent in the last 2 games. Based on performances, I think that could be a punt. Maybe the goal towards the end will provide a lot of faith and optimism for those looking to invest there. But I'll be honest, I'm looking at Jota. I've said the names before, Mbumo, Ismaila Sarr, Maddison, Kulusevski, more so than Foden, but he's definitely up there. Sell Saka for a Palace mid. The only Palace mid I'd consider is Ismaila Sarr. No one else. I mean, maybe Eze when he's back, to be fair, but yeah, he hasn't been good this season. If I already have Ahmad, do you think I should get Bruno or Son for Saka? I'd go for Son in that case. If Saka only misses Ipswich, is he worth holding? Yes, but I'll be honest, mate, it'd be a shock if he's back by Game Week 19. I think he's out for the next 3 to 4 weeks, which would mean he's out until Game Week 21, 22, minimum. Saka struggles after you buy him. Isak next. Well, yeah, I had Isak before that, and I sold Isak when he was injured against Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park to fund Saka, and it's basically just reversed. But don't worry, let's see how Isak does. Thank you, Joe. Dylan Rocks. I thought he was AI, but he got a haircut. Nice, mate. What? Mate, I've had those comments from my dad. I've had comments like that from some friends of mine who think I'm an, let's not go into specifics. They think I'm a robot. Let's put it that way. Thoughts on going early on Sarr this week for Saka? I don't think you need to do that early, to be honest. The Argentinian made it 1-1 against Barcelona, the ball. Yeah, he does frustrate me at times, but he's been a very good player for Argentina over the years. A legend of the Albiceleste. Saka to Foden, João Pedro to Gabriel Jesus. Very punty, I'm not going to lie to you, but obviously you've had some success recently. I'm not completely against those moves, to be fair. They're just not my favourite options in those positions. I covered them earlier as well. Only have Cunha, Salah, captain, Palma, Sanchez, Joe Gomez and Jackson to go with 10 points. Yeah, there is saving if your captain does really well. And yeah, I think the Chelsea players are really important for you, but oddly enough, you might want Palmer to not go ballistic, or at least outscore Mohamed Salah. That haircut for the new year. Yeah, I didn't have a haircut for like 5 to 6 months, which is a lot for a guy, typically speaking. Yeah, normally I cut it every like month or 2. But yeah, basically I thought my barber wasn't in. I basically was a fool. They were remodeling the shop and he was downstairs. And also I used that as an excuse to grow it out. I was watching anime. Maybe that was a big influence. Who knows? This X account has predicted Saka to be out for at least 4 games. Yeah. Someone put a link earlier and I read it out. Yeah, and that's pretty much what I said. I think he's going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks minimum. Yeah, I think they are often quite accurate. Your dad calls you a robot. Well, yeah, just banter, he says stuff like that. What do you think about Pedro, Cunha, Saka to Isak, Jackson, and Ahmad for a -8? Yeah, I'd probably go ahead with those moves, to be fair. No complaints from me. Thoughts on Højlund? I mean, he's going to be hit or miss, isn't he? When he strikes gold, he'll get you a goal or two and be very enticing, but I think the inconsistency will be too much, if I'm honest. I'd rather go for Solanke, Gabriel Jesus, dare I say, but more importantly, Isak, Jackson, and Chris Wood. They're my favourites. FPL Dream says, I took out Mbuma for Dibbling to upgrade Strand Larsen to Isak. It meant I ended up playing Rodgers. Wow, fair play. That's a nice domino effect for you. Should I make my transfers now? If Isak increases in price, I can't get Colwill. Are you really that tempted to buy Colwill? Do you really want that Chelsea defender? If so, then make the early moves. But just bear in mind, you're going to be at disadvantage of not having all the information. There could be injuries tomorrow, and then further fires to put out. That's the risk that comes with early transfers. Ruler2 says, oh, just imagine having Grimaldo or Frimpong in FPL. They are machines right now. Yes, Grimaldo's been excellent in UCL Fantasy. Frimpong too, but Grimaldo on another level. Yeah, they're both amazing in the Bundesliga, week in, week out. Any January transfer prediction in real life? I mean, in an ideal world, Isak to Arsenal or Gyökeres to Arsenal, but hard to say. They need to sign a forward ASAP. The main issue I have is I've joined my mini league 3 weeks late and I've 120 points gap. Just seems impossible for me to win. Well, yeah, look, I'm not sure if the point scoring started from the beginning of the season or if you joined late, as in like you started FPL late this season. 120 points is a lot, but trust me, I've actually clawed back deficits like that in my mini leagues at this stage of the year. I was 100 points down by Christmas one time and I still won it quite comfortably, so there's still a lot of swings to go. Oh man, I really hope so. The chat is kind of freezing at the moment. Hopefully the stream isn't... A few drop frames, not great, but it is what it is. And YouTube has gone down again. I don't know why it keeps happening. Isak to Arsenal 2025, I bloody hope so, but I don't think it will happen. The main issue you covered, I'm hoping Raul Jimenez doesn't play. He's going to play, mate. Even if he's benched, he's going to come off for a 1-point cameo, but he's going to start, I think. I think he'll do well. I think Saka's out for 3 to 4 weeks, if I'm honest. And I think a few of the physios on Twitter have said the same thing. Jude Reynolds says, thoughts on Kulusevski for Saka and a non-playing striker to Jesus for a -4. Do you reckon he'll begin to start every game? Well, at the moment, yes, I think he'll start every game, but rotation will happen, especially if his performances dip. But with Saka out, I think Jesus will be very important to unlocking defences with his close control, the dribbling, and the little flicks he does, which has been brilliant in the last 2 games. Saka getting injured is bad for Arsenal, but it will finally shake up the FPL template across the midfield and attack. Yeah. That's the somewhat the so-called positive spin on it, FPL-wise, but I wish Saka was available, to be fair. 41 -4 with Salah captain, Palmer, Jackson, Trent and Robertson to go. Looks good. Oh my god, to make the Saka and Isak moves I went on the app, I had Rodgers on my bench also. I thought I brought him in. I chose Smith-Rowe for Rodgers. I want to sink myself in the sea. Yeah, I've never heard that before. Trust me, you don't want to do that. Drowning is not a good way to go. But yeah, FPL can make you feel that way. Why'd you rate Jota if he competes with Darwin, Gakpo, Diaz? Well, like I mentioned earlier, if we look at Jota's returns or his minutes before he got injured, he was starting every game bar, what was it, the Bournemouth match where he didn't play a single minute, and that allowed me to have Chris Wood points off the bench back then, by the way. But I think Jota is a better option than Diaz, Gakpo and Darwin. He can come off a bench and score. He did it against Fulham last week, against Burnley last season, and on multiple occasions for Liverpool. He's a clinical striker for the Reds as well, and he alleviates pressure off Salah. So I do think Jota will be first choice number 9, but yes, his minutes will be managed. He's injury prone. I get that, but as a punt over the next couple of weeks, I don't mind it. Rashford to West Ham, Antonio out for a long time. That'd be a crazy transfer, to be fair. I don't see it happening. What would make something worth taking a hit? Never have I done so since I started playing. Well, it's not just having immediate results, right? Although that definitely reassures you and makes you believe you're on the right path. But long term, a hit can really pay off. You know, if you sell Saka now, who's probably out for a couple of weeks, and you sell him to Ahmad for a -4, that should pay off, in theory. Who's your best Saka replacement? Yeah, I'd be looking at Fernandes, Son, any Spurs midfielder, or Jota at the moment. That's kind of like the pool of players I'd look at. Chiesa back, also competing for striker. Yeah, but I think Jota would still be first choice compared to those lot. And look, I'm not saying I'm buying Jota for sure, by the way. He's just in my plans. Sells and Gabriel and Saka and Joao Pedro and Rodgers on my first bench. Hope Cunha suddenly gets banned so Rodgers can get in. I mean, that'd be good for you, but I'm hoping Rodgers, should I say, Cunha does play, and we don't see those those Rodgers points off the bench. All my plans get ruined if Jackson gets yellow carded tomorrow. At least it seems he is trying everything in his power to not get carded. That's true. And even with Enzo Fernandez, he told him, don't take your shirt off, mate. Don't get the yellow card. But now that we say that, he's going to get booked tomorrow, isn't he? Cunha to Jesus for Gameweek 18. I mean, look, the fixture's brilliant. Jesus is in amazing form. I don't mind that as a 1 week punt and then reassess going forwards, but it could be a trap. I'd lean more towards saying yes in terms of buying Jesus this week, but just be cautious with him. My moves will probably be Saka to Jota and Pedro to Wood. I like that. I'd do the same thing if I didn't sell Isak a few weeks ago. Chris Wood is a steady Eddie, was going to get him, but now Isak as no Saka. Fixture's not as good, but he is more explosive. Completely agree. I could see myself buying both Chris Wood and Isak over the next few weeks. Yeah, we'll see, of course. I think Jota will be first choice on most occasions, but at the same time, it's just his injury record. That's my main red flag with Diogo Jota. Yeah, look, with Duran, it's similar to Jota, but I think it's probably even worse in this case because Watkins is traditionally the first choice striker, and on current form, Duran will start, but I think they're going to share minutes too often, and you're going to see 60 minutes for Duran, sub off for Watkins, and vice versa. I want to avoid that. I think Saka's out for 3 to 4 weeks minimum. It could be longer. Hate Liverpool attack so much, but love it as a fan. I get what you're saying. There is a bit of depth about it. Darwin is frustrating in front of goal. He's not reliable. Jota's injury prone. Diaz can be inconsistent with goals and assists. Salah's the kind of one holding it together. Without him, it's a completely different story. Palace fan here, happy Salah bagged a goal. Yeah, look, Salah's been really impressive in recent weeks, and I have to say 5-1 was probably a very flattering scoreline for Arsenal. I think it should have been much closer than that. And, you know, it easily could have been 3-2, 3-3 at one point, and then Palace could have gotten a result there. Easy99 says with Saka out, Jesus likely to be regular starter and the main striker with Havertz in Saka's place. Yeah, technically Havertz would be in the midfield, Martinelli on the right where Saka plays, and then Trossard on the left. I think that's how Arsenal will set up. I have 5 good midfielders. Good. I don't. I've got like 3, and one of them's injured. Thanks for the advice today. I played Milenkovic and got the clean sheet points. Well, I didn't expect it, to be honest. I just thought it was better than your alternative, but I'm glad that it worked for you. Is it too early to take a -4 tonight? I mean, look, you can make early transfers, especially if you're going to be priced out, mate. But if possible, I always encourage people to hold off, wait for all the games to go at least, and then make your transfers because you've got more information. And who knows, miraculously, maybe Saka's back for Gameweek 18, but I very much doubt it. If it was you, would you lean towards removing Joao Pedro or keeping? Lean towards selling, yeah. But at his price and below, what, you go to Jimenez? I mean, I'll be honest, I'd be looking to upgrade him to a more expensive player like Chris Wood. That's my plan. Mateta's fine though, but I'd rather buy Ismaila Sarr or Eze for the Palace attack. Is it worth delaying my transfers even though Aitner is dropping to see what happens tomorrow? Yeah. Unless you're going to be priced out, I think you're good to keep things as they are. I think City players are downing tools. There's a lot of different things happening there. But mentally, I think they're kind of zoned out of this season. Saka got injured, which was unfortunate. I'm cooked. I'm on 13 points right now, but everyone has Palmer, Salah, Robinson. Only got Cunha to save me. Yeah, I'm hoping Cunha plays and bags a brace. I mean, I'd be very happy with that. Not expecting much, though, from tomorrow's games. But I think it'll be better for a lot of people. It tends to be like this, where on the Saturday, it looks all doom and gloom, and then you're like, oh, I got a green arrow. Hopefully that's the case for us. Betty says, I have Salah, Palmer, Ahmad, Enzo, Saka. What do I do? I've been thinking about selling Saka for Mbumo and Joao Pedro for Isak. Yeah, I like those moves a lot. I'm just wondering who your other forwards are, because you might want to sell Cunha instead of Joao Pedro because the ban will happen eventually. And instead of Mbumo, you might want Jota, Fernandez, Son, or a Spurs midfielder like Kulusevski/Maddison, Ismaila Sarr. There's a lot of midfielders I've suggested today, and it's going to be difficult picking out the exact one. Yeah, same here. I hate Isak with a passion, but he'll be back soon. Either today, tomorrow, but before the Gameweek 18 deadline, more than you believe, we will be there. With Saka out, will Arsenal struggle again? Well, they scored a lot of goals when he came off the pitch, but I think in the upcoming games, yeah, Saka will be a massive blow. But Arsenal have to adapt. Put Jesus on the right or put Martinelli there and find a way to unlock defences and get the results, because Arsenal can go on a run and win the league, but you got to find a way. A lot of injuries this season. I'm kind of sick and tired of this Premier League campaign, but you got to find a way. Should I buy Isak or Jackson? Oddly enough, if Jackson avoids the yellow card tomorrow, he's got the better fixtures over the next 3. But as I said earlier in today's stream, Isak is the best forward in the game right now, and he proved it today. Best setup for Liverpool's defence or double game week? I already own Virgil and Salah. Leave a Liverpool slot for Arne Slot. Maybe that's the way to go, mate. But otherwise, you're looking at Diogo Jota, Trent at the back. Apart from those players, I'm not really that bullish on the rest. Joe Gomez as a short-term punt, I guess, but maybe just keep that spot available. Rodgers and Hall on the bench, ouch, yeah. I mean, some people have Rodgers and Aina on the bench, imagine that. Nuri was training as a winger, apparently. Yeah, good for him. He's out of my team. Cheers. I don't want to go back to him. He's just nearly got 2 hat-tricks against the same team in the same week. Is it his birthday? Well, technically in a couple of days' time, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I honestly can't believe it, mate. I mean, every shot he had, he looked so dangerous. I had confidence in him actually scoring, which is just bizarre. And he's playing really well. Ever since he scored that first goal against Palace on Wednesday, he just looked like a man possessed. Thoughts on Bowen and Chowdhury to Rodgers and Ahmad Gameweek 19? I'm on board. I think Rodgers blanks against Newcastle, but that's a good long-term investment. What do you think about Armstrong? Not for me. I wouldn't go there. When will the press conferences occur with Boxing Day fixtures in mind? I mean, they always occur 2 days before, typically. So yeah, by Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll get press conferences and some more information. Now, we're going to get embargo quotes from the press conferences today and tomorrow, so bear that in mind. They'll be released in a couple of days' time too. That's what typically happens with a short turnaround between deadlines. So the information provided will be kind of out of date by then, so there could be a lot of things up in the air. Selling Joao Pedro for Gabriel Jesus? Yeah, I mean, on current form, I'm not really against that. 200k, is there a chance for me to win FPL at this stage? It's slim, but there is a chance. You need to have a perfect end to the season, though, or near perfect. Sarr or Eze? Based on current form, I'd go for Sarr. Of course, Eze missed out today due to injury, but he should be back. Or maybe to make it easier, Flecken and Eze, or Sarr and Alisson Becker? Sarr and Alisson. Is Son a good shout for Saka? Yes, but Spurs will spread the goals around. I think Son will either haul massively or just give you a lot of blanks. So like, let's say a 12-pointer, 3 or 4 blanks in a row, then a 9-pointer. That's kind of the pattern he's following this season. Jesus is reborn. Yeah, I mean, I love it. Hopefully he continues it because Arsenal desperately need him. Pens if Saka out, Jesus or Odegaard? It'll be Odegaard. And then Havertz would be next in line. I don't think Jesus takes them. Should I buy Isak now to avoid price changes? If he rises 0.1, then I can't buy. In that case, I'd buy him. Yep. Saka and Cunha out for Ahmad and Wood for a -4 for Gameweek 18? Yes, would be my answer. Saka replacements, my midfield is Palmer, Salah, Semenyo, Ahmad. Yeah, I mentioned a lot of replacements before. Just to kind of summarize, Son and Fernandes are the kind of standout ones at a similar price. Then you're looking at Jota, Mbumo, Maddison, Kulusevski, Ismaila Sarr, Amad Diallo and Rodgers. And in your case, you've got Amad Diallo already, so that's fine. End of year where Jesus becomes good. I hope it stays for good, for a long time. I was waiting so long for this game week, longing for Rodgers to get his payback versus City, who did not believe in him. Can't believe more people could not see that storyline. It was obvious. Well, I did back him quite a lot. I did say I fancied him today, but not for 14 points, to be fair. I mean, City are even worse than I expected. Nuri can get stuffed, never going there again. He is as bad as Cash. I agree. And he scored a bloody goal against you, so you must hate him even more. Rodgers, 14 points on my bench is hurting me. Yeah. Aina as well, massive hauls. I mean, there's a lot of bench points flying around. Do I miss Harry Kane? No. I mean, he played for Tottenham. He always found a way to score against Arsenal, mainly through penalties. I'm glad he's gone now. I'm not going to lie to you. If I was neutral and or didn't have any affiliation with Arsenal, Tottenham, then yeah, of course, Kane is one of the best Premier League strikers of this generation. But You're asking me. It's the wrong person to ask. The forwards you wanted were Wood, Joao Pedro, and Jimenez. Remember, I have Saka, Salah, Palmer, Enzo, and Ahmed in the midfield. That's where I need help. All right, okay. Well, I'd look to buy Jackson and Isak up front if you can. Isak might be the priority based on his recent form. Start Fabianski over Verbruggen next week. I did it this week and it wasn't too bad. Yeah, look, I didn't expect much from any of them. I thought both would concede. Yeah, so overall it went well for you. Iwobi's fine. As a budget midfielder, he's still right up there for me alongside Enzo Fernandez, Smith Rowe, Jacob Murphy, Rodgers, and Amad Diallo. Those are the best ones. My favourites would be Amad Diallo and Rodgers right now. I can do Saka and Evanilson to Son and Wood for what? -4, 0 in the bank. What do you think? Yeah, they're good transfers. If you don't have Isak or Jackson, though, that would be my priority. Take a -4 to get Isak to catch Rise, even if he won't get priced out. I mean, you can do it, but I'd rather just wait for more information. I'd only take the hit if you're going to be priced out. Saka out for 8 weeks. Where did you see that? Oh, fuck, that's even worse than I thought if that's the case. I hope that isn't, but wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, if you've got a link, let me know. But I would not be surprised. Oh, dear. I'll have a look now on Twitter. But yeah, I'd be quite surprised if the timeline or the time frame is already given out. Oh. We'll talk more about that in the upcoming videos. Nothing tomorrow, but the plan is to do a transfer tips on Monday, the best wildcard team on Tuesday, and my own team selection on Wednesday, where I will fix things ahead of the Gameweek 18 deadline. And of course, on Thursday, Boxing Day, we will have another deadline stream. Terry says, Hall, Robinson, or Aina, who should I play? I would be looking to play, at the moment, Robinson, purely because of the assist threat that he's got over the others, and I think all of them concede. But there could be a surprise clean sheet between those. I just wouldn't be able to tell you who. Arsenal have Jesus, 2 Gabriels, and Heaven, just saying. Yeah, but we seem cursed anyway. Will Kane go back to the Premier League to break Alan Shearer's record? I don't think so. I mean, who would he go to? Back to Tottenham? Can they afford him? Well, yes, they could, but would they spend the money? I'm not so sure. And I think Kane still has a lot of business to do at Bayern Munich. Alan from Gameweek 19. Yeah, it's great fixtures. He's going to score goals, but is he worth that price? He's not a priority for me. I'd rather buy Jackson or Isak right now. Kane was annoying in FPL. The FPL team always credited him with dodgy goals. Yeah. I swear my daughter's life I scored against Stoke. Yeah, sure, mate. Yeah, sure you did. I have both Isak and Jackson. Yeah, nice. That's a good position to be in. I'm looking to do the same thing after this week. Yeah, Saka, I covered that earlier. He's on crutches. It's not looking good. 99% I'd say, Charles. 99% I think Saka misses the game. And probably the next few as well. Do you think Kirk is still good? Yes, but not as keen on him as I was 2 or 3 weeks ago, to be fair. Saka 40% ownership will drop to 0. Not 0, but I get what you're saying. It will drop to below 20%, I'd say. If you were to pick a Forest defender as a set and forget with a long-term view in mind, who would you pick? It's between Aina or Milenkovic. But to be honest, Sells is fine as a set and forget goalkeeper. Gets clean sheets when you least expect him to. Reliable. I don't mind that. Murillo would be at the bottom, and of course he missed the game today, and Morato came in. But my favourite might be Aina. I mean, I think that's a bit harsh, mate. Jackson has been very consistent this season. Good underlying numbers, plays in one of the best teams in the league, with the best attack right now. There's a lot to like, actually. Yeah, sure, yeah. I mean, Sterling, I think, deserves more minutes. He's had some good performances here and there, some good cameos, but yeah, look, I never would have signed him in the first place. That's quite clear, but now that you did it, give him some minutes. Sacking Saka for Christmas, yeah, just, I don't like that. Yeah, but we see them cursed anyway. Dylan, quote of the year, I swear. Oh, I left it late to the 21st of December for a quote of the year, but I appreciate it. Arsenal's league charge is over. Saka's out for the season. Well, relax. Yeah, we're seeing different things now. Let's calm down. That would be massive. I think he's out for a couple of weeks, maybe a month or 2, but let's hold our horses. Should I sell Saka? On the face of it, yes, but maybe wait for more information is the best thing you can do. yes, I probably would sell Saka, but you don't need to make the transfer today unless you're going to be priced out of Isak or something like that, but wait if you can. I sold Enzo for Winks and Cunha for Isak. Yeah, Winks is kind of useless, but I see why you did it, just to fund the other move. That's fair enough. I'm actually looking to bring in both defenders you mentioned, Dylan. Is this in regards to Nottingham Forest? Betty says Trent, Gavardio, Hall and Saliba. Who should I start? Choose 3. Saliba has to start for me on paper. I'd go for Trent and Gavardio. I'd bench Lewis Hall. Is a 4 at the back triple premium structure bad? No, but I don't think you need to do that. 1 or 2 premiums is enough. And the back line, Pep getting his P45 as City lose again. I'll be honest, I don't think he gets sacked just yet, but if they don't fix it soon, I mean, his position becomes untenable even after all he's done. Do you think Euro takes a starting spot at United soon? Yeah, I think that's possible, but I wouldn't be looking to invest in him. I prefer Mazraoui, Diogo Dalot, and maybe De Ligt. You could still see rotation there. Best replacement for Jota. Well, I wouldn't sell Jota. If anything, I'd be looking to buy him as a punt. But yeah, for Saka, I covered that earlier to death. Jota's one of them. Maddison, Kulusevski, Son, Bruno Fernandes, Ismail Assar, Amad Diallo, Rogers would be the top replacements. Mbuma's not bad. Not sure if I'd buy him in right now, though. I was kind of joking about Saka, but the towel charges over. Yeah, don't joke about things like that. Well, I mean, it depends. I think Arsenal can still get the results needed, but it's going to be very difficult for them. And it just seems like Arsenal are always getting injuries or something happening when they're building a bit of momentum. Do you think I should get Isak for Haaland? I mean, the timing is a bit awkward because Haaland has great fixtures whilst Isak faces Tottenham, Villa and United over the next 3, which are good fixtures for a striker, but not the best ones you can ask for. Yeah, I'd still probably buy Isak, but maybe reconsider it. Would you prefer Wood or Duran and why? Chris Wood, because he's a talisman. He's more consistent than Duran in terms of minutes and returns. I think that's quite simple. Chelsea fan or not, I would not wish injury on anyone. Yeah, I agreed. Even people I hate in football, I'd probably say the same thing. Foden could be great. Yeah, he deserves a mention, to be fair. Good performances in the last 2. What a stream. Hard work, man. Thank you very much, Stan. Forest for Champions League. All right, yeah, calm down. Arsenal will win the Champions League eventually. Just hopefully I can see it. You know, that'd be great. What about the other 1%, says Charles? Look, it's just because it's not impossible, right? And I don't know exactly how bad the injury is, but it's just very likely he's not going to play. Let's put it that way. What to do with bloody Matoma? Sell him if you can, but because you've got Saka too, you might need to give him 1 more week, even if it's just to bench him. Oliver Walker says, thoughts on my team next week? 3-5-2 formation, Sells, Trent, Gabriel, Munoz, Saka, Sarr, Palmer, Ahmad, Salah, Isak, Wissa, bench, Fabianski, Wood, Mikolenko and Johnson. Thoughts? It's a very strong team. I like it. Of course, Sells against Tottenham, you probably back Spurs to score there, but he's a good set and forget goalkeeper. I'd consider starting Chris Wood, but who do you start him over? Maybe Wissa? Apart from that, I think you're good to go. Main problem with Sterling is he always dribbles and not passing to his teammates. Yeah, I have to say though, in recent games, he has done some good cutbacks and was a bit unlucky not to get some assists, but against Palace the other day, he missed some criminal chances. Dusan says, start Mazraoui or Hall next week. Mazraoui. Also, would you be selling Havertz after Ipswich with recent changes in the Arsenal lineup? I mean, if I still had Havertz now, I'd keep him for Ipswich, but he's not going to play up front with Jesus taking the mantle there. Yeah, Harry Kane, is he still injured? I'll be honest, I haven't kept track of the Bundesliga recently because UCL Fantasy hasn't been a factor in the last week or so. But I'm pretty sure he's back soon. And obviously for those that maybe want to watch a game right now, Barcelona versus Atletico Madrid, although it is coming to a close, a 1-1 draw at the moment. Both of them challenging for the title. Atletico Madrid kind of sneaking in unnoticed, a bit like Chelsea. But yeah, I'm not sure of Harry Kane. I need to double check that. I'm not sure. Do they play tomorrow? No, I think they played already. Yeah, they played. They won 5-1. And where is Harry Kane? I don't think he started. Did he? He wasn't involved in the goal, so surely he didn't play. No, he did play. He started. Yeah, he's back. He played 87 minutes, got booked. Didn't get a goal or assist, but there you go. He is back. That is the simple answer. No worries, Oliver Walker. I mean, yeah, at the moment it's Isak. I said that earlier in the deadline stream, so they're both great choices. Yeah, of course, Murphy is up there in terms of budget midfielders, but you've also got Amad Diallo, Enzo Fernandez, Rogers, Iwobi, Smith Rowe. There's a lot of different choices there. Best pundit on YouTube is you, Dylan. Enjoy Christmas, bro. Thank you very much, Gary. Have a great holiday and enjoy the New Year festivities with your family. Would you take a -4 to bring in Wood or Jesus for Pedro? I mean, this week Jesus looks more appealing, but I prefer Chris Wood long term. Hi, Dylan. I bought Saka before 4 game weeks. Yeah, same here, mate. Don't get me started on that. I sold Isak. Let's not go into that again. What a disaster, thinking of selling him to Sa or Jota, and I'm not sure if I go for Cunha to Isak for a -4. I would. The next 3 fixtures look bad for Isak on paper, but I still think for a Newcastle attacker, it's quite promising. And Cunha could get banned anytime. The fixtures are poor for Wolves, so looks good. I'd probably take a punt on Jota at the moment. But if he starts against Tottenham tomorrow, that would actually make me more worried about him starting against Leicester. Bench one of Rogers or Aina? Probably Aina, but I think Rogers will blank against Newcastle. Bench Lisandro Martinez or Kirkes? I'd bench Lisandro Martinez. I'm 39th in your league, even though I'm 5k. You've got some top managers in it, yeah. Even better than last season, I believe. But there's always some very high-performing managers in the league, which is good to see. Barcelona bottling the league, yeah. They're opening the door to Madrid for sure, and it wouldn't surprise me if Los Merengues win again. Should I get Son and Wood for Saka and drop Pedro for a -4, or only change Saka? Probably only change Saka for now, but I do like Chris Wood as an upgrade on Joao Pedro. I just don't know if it's worth a -4 hit this week. Can Man City recover? They can recover, but not to win the league. I mean, I'm sorry, you can't lose the way they've done recently and go on to win the league. That would be, it'd require disaster classes by Chelsea, Arsenal and Liverpool. And I don't see Liverpool falling off that badly with the points advantage they have. I might be wrong, but if Cunha doesn't get banned, hold him for at least the next 3-4. Yeah, if he doesn't get banned, you could still hold him. He can do well against United, but I think he will get banned soon. My ideal 7 attackers, I'll cover in the wildcard video, but Jackson, Isak, Palmer, Salah, those 4 are kind of untouchable. Then I'd be looking at one of Amad or Rogers, maybe even both. The other one would be one of Jota or a Spurs midfielder, Fernandez, Son. That's all up in the air, and I'll discuss that in future videos. And then Chris Wood. That's kind of my front 7 at the moment. For the Arsenal fans, let's remember that Jesus came out of nowhere and turned in good performances. Martinelli was good, as was Havertz and Rice. The defence is solid. Yeah, well, the thing is with Sterling, he's never used, right? But, I mean, Saka's injured, potentially for weeks. Hopefully he gets some minutes and can get some goal contributions and contribute towards Arsenal's success, relatively speaking. I think Rice was brilliant today, by the way, off the bench, and Jesus, rightfully so, man of the match. Havertz was quite good in the midfield, but not something I want to see long term. I think Pep has technically imploded already, but yeah, you're right. I was 6k in Game Week 10, then I just started getting injuries, my season is limping along. Yeah, that must be very frustrating. But there's still a long way to go, and you can still get back to that position. Well, it's just because over this Christmas period, I think Liverpool will rotate, and a lot of teams will do the same. You can see it with Duran and Watkins, for example. It's just like a lot depends on how many minutes he gets, by the way. If he gets 60 minutes against Tottenham, he could still play against Leicester and start. But I think his minutes will be managed in general because he's injury prone. Mbappe started clicking with the rest of Real, it looks like. Yeah, no surprises there, is it? It was always going to happen. Man City now, like Man City of 2009. Yeah, maybe even worse. Considering the expectations, I would not be going for Eddie Nketiah. If you want a Palace forward, it'd be Mateta, but my favourite attacker would be Ismail Assar or Eze. For next game week, would you play Milenkovic or Robinson? Probably Robinson. To be fair though, Spurs pull from set pieces, Milenkovic, bullet header. I'm just saying, that's definitely a good consideration. Who would you play between Wissa, Enzo and Rogers? My current preference would be Wissa. I think Rogers would be the one to bench from those 3. Dylan, my team is good and I didn't wildcard. Just let the wildcard go? Or should I wildcard? I mean, yeah. But the thing is, even if you're only making 3 or 4 transfers, it's better than taking hits, right? And if you can upgrade your second goalkeeper or make a few incremental upgrades, it all goes a long way. Wow, Atletico Madrid 2-1 up. Maybe they're the ones to win the title. Who knows? I mean, that's a bit of a surprise. Saka to Foden, funds Bowen to Bruno for Gameweek 19. Yeah, looks fine. I think Foden is a very big punt, to be fair. Yeah, I covered the replacement for Saka before. I don't want to go into this too much again, but basically, I'd be looking at, apart from Palmer and Salah, Jota, Fernandes, Son, Kulusevski, Maddison, Ismail Assar, Amad Diallo, Rodgers. Those are my favourite midfielders to replace him. There's a lot of names there, of course, but that's what I'd kind of limit it to. Salah, Palmer, Rodgers, Isak, Jackson, and Pedro, your thoughts? Yeah, looks really solid. I'm looking to build something similar. Start Hall or Robinson? Robinson at the moment, but yeah, I mean, Newcastle are at home, to be fair. Yeah, probably a slight preference for Lewis Hall, but not by much. Barca just lost, yeah. Surprising stuff. Well, I mean, if City lose the next 3 games in a row, for example, I mean, that could be it, but he's got a lot of credit in the bank, of course. I have 5 transfers, who to replace for Saka, Cunha, Semenyo, Pedro, Jorginho, Rota. Good position to be in. I don't know who you have already, though, so I might say Isak, but you've got him in your team, so difficult for me to say, to be honest. If money is no object, is Son the best replacement for Saka? Not necessarily, but he would be up there. Sorloth with a 96th minute dagger. Jesus. I have more Christmas Doritos every week. Got enough to order some dips. Yeah, I actually haven't eaten dinner yet, and it's, wow, 10 PM in the UK. I'm going to have to cut things soon. Yeah, SOCLH, a Real Madrid fan in the chat, is enjoying himself. Thanks for the advice. No worries, Ilko. Good to see you. Manu says, Dylan, is it nice to have Fernandes and Ahmed in the same team? It's not bad, but I would rather avoid that. I think United are too unreliable to go for United attacking double up and occupying 2 of the 5 midfielder slots on one team. No, not Odegaard for me. I was more bullish on him a couple of weeks ago when he was returning every game since his injury. He's still a good option, but nah, not for me. One good thing about him, though, is he should be the main penalty taker in Saka's absence. Who's the best replacement for Trent? Because I need to sell him for funds. I'd be looking at Colwill if you haven't tripled up on Chelsea already. The fixtures are just that good. Can only get one, Jota or Trent. Trent. Kane finally wins trophies before Barcelona bottle the league. I wouldn't say that just yet. I'll say that McKenzie for the... well, I'll go back to my FPL team anyway. I mean, I covered it for most of the stream. But in terms of transfer plans and stuff, I alluded to it earlier. You can rewind, and also in my team selection video, that will be covered in more depth. I'll have a better idea of what I want to do. There's a lot of things I could end up, you know, kind of tinkering with in the midfield and forward line. Best forward at 6 million or below, it would be Jimenez at the moment, but I'd rather go to Chris Wood at a slightly more expensive price point. Suhas puts his team. Should I do Cunha to Jesus or Wood? Short term, Jesus looks amazing. Great form, fantastic fixture, but long term, I think the sensible move is Chris Wood. He's more reliable than Jesus. And who do I buy for Saka? So you've got Palmer, Salah, Ahmad, and Dibbling already, and you've got 0.7 in the bank. So you could go to Son, Fernandes, Jota, Mbumo. You've got a lot of options, actually. I'd be tempted by Jota at the moment, but that isn't set in stone. CROTP says, hi Dylan, what do you think about Bruno, Jackson and Trent for Gvardiol, Saka and Cunha, but for a -4? I mean, Gvardiol could still be a decent choice, and Cunha, if he doesn't get suspended by Gameweek 18, is fine to keep, but I take the -4 here. It looks really impressive. My keyboard making errors, yeah, don't worry, I can relate to that. It's a decent starting 11. I'm not that bullish on Rodgers this week against Newcastle. I was more optimistic against City, to be honest, but it's a good team overall. And of course, by the Game Week 18 deadline stream, we can talk about this in more detail. Is it possible that Ismail Assar's replaced Eze as the talisman? Possibly. The thing is with Eze, if he gets 1 goal or assist, he's very likely going to get bonus points. But yeah, in recent weeks, Ismail Assar's been very impressive. Maybe this spurs Eze on to perform better. If Sarr and Eze come good, this could mean that Mateta becomes a good shout. I mean, the fixtures are there. I think Palace will get some good results. They were quite unlucky to lose 5-1 today. I think Arsenal were just clinical, and they had some individual brilliance. Rodgers is just too funny, bro. Every time I bench him, he scores, but to be fair, my team looks good right now. It was between benching Rodgers, Bowen, Pedro. Yeah, I think The real debate for me would have been Pedro or Rodgers, and I probably would have done the same as you, to be honest. Is Cunha going to play? I think so. Since I've played FPL, I've held this narrative that Son is a big game player. Maybe I've been lucky, but whenever he's been doubted, he's done well. Look, Son will produce points. He's going to get double-digit goals and a few assists, but he's going to be inconsistent. And for that price, is he worth it? That's debatable, but I think Saka, until this injury, of course, was clear. Thank you, SOCLH, for becoming a differential. Enjoy the title race in La Liga, which is definitely spicing up at the moment. Maybe you're a bit gutted about the late Aleti winner. They could actually be a serious problem for you. Should sell Saka. I mean, that's the current plan, but let's not jump to conclusions because there is still a slight chance, although admittedly very small, that things aren't as bad as they seem. But yeah, we're asking for a Christmas miracle. Yeah, I think Chris Wood goes up in price. LiveFPL.net are the most reliable, and they've got him projected to rise. Who should I keep then, Ahmad or Fernandes? I'd rather keep Ahmad right now, but admittedly, the minutes won't be as secure as Bruno Fernandes. Sarr replaced Elise, would not say Eze. Eze still talisman. Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I think you both made good points. Maybe you already answered this, but I have 42 points with Robertson, Jackson, Palmer, Iwobi, and Salah captain. Yeah, good score. Decent players left. So as much as you bench Rodgers, you're in a good position. Let's help Dylan order some food. I'm not ordering any food. There's food already available. I'm going to eat. It's about bloody time. Duncan says, I can do Saka, João Pedro, and Trent to Son, Jesus, and Virgil. Yeah, good moves overall. I've made my feelings clear on Gabriel Jesus and Son. Van Dijk remains one of the best defenders to buy, but yeah, I think they're all good transfers. I'd make them. But you do have a lot of alternatives in the front line. Isak, Jackson, and Chris Wood. In the midfield, you'd be looking at Jota, Fernandes, Amad Diallo, Rodgers, Ismail Assar. Those are the main ones. Jota as a punt, and even Mbeumo. Foden's a very big punt, yes. Tell us what you really think. Look, he's played well in the last 2 games, but it's 1 Premier League goal this season. He's had a shocker. Isak to Jackson, Mateta, set and forget. Oh, I mean, the first 2, yes. Assuming that Jackson doesn't get booked tomorrow, or in Game Week 18, or 19. Mateta is definitely debatable because you've got Solanke, you've got Chris Wood, Gabriel Jesus on current form, Raul Jimenez, and a few others. But that's fairly decent. I'm not sure Mateta is a set and forget, though. If Saka's back for Thursday, then Jesus did more than score goals today. Mate, I'd be the happiest man, maybe not in the world. That's maybe I would actually. Gonna have veggie Thai red curry. Oh, enjoy it. That sounds really, really good. Have Jackson and Isak already, says Duncan. Yeah, right. I mean, yeah, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. I mean, I did say yes to those transfers, but I was just mentioning other forwards you could buy. Chris Wood is more sensible and safer than Gabriel Jesus long term, but if you're buying one now, I'd be tempted by Jesus. I get that. I had Isak as vice captain. At least you got him, but a little bit frustrating for those that really seriously considered it. That is natural. I mean, FPL wouldn't be FPL without all these frustrating little bits in terms of transfers. I mean, Isak. When I had him and I didn't have Saka, Saka was amazing, 31 points in 2 game weeks. Isak just blank. Oh, I got injured against Palace, 21 minutes at Selhurst Park. Now, swap him. And then now, Saka gets injured after 24 minutes at Selhurst Park. And that is just football. That is life. That is FPL. Amazing game. Thank you so much. I love it. But thank you everyone for tuning in. I've been streaming for 2 hours, 20 minutes, essentially just like the deadline stream earlier today. If you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. If you enjoy my content, our aim is to get this to 200 likes and to keep on pushing towards new goals like 31,000 subscribers. Thank you to all that have supported the channel already, all the live chats, the comments, super chats, channel members, patrons, subscribers. All of that is massively appreciated. And you can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM, and check all the links in the description below for my Patreon and the championships for early access to my videos, amongst many other perks, the Discord server, FPL League, Drafthound, as well as Spotify. And you can also follow me on Blue Sky. I've got an account. It's very new. I've got like 5 followers on there, but I'm still a bit of a noob on certain social media platforms. I'm on Reddit. You can find me by typing FPL Dylan or DylanRCM. Thank you, Beardy. I'll see you very soon. Saka did play, mate. He got injured. So, yeah, he's probably going to be out for a couple of weeks. We'll talk about this in future videos. Thank you, Stan. Would you sell João Pedro for Jimenez? not necessarily, especially when Jimenez is facing Chelsea away. I was more keen on buying Jimenez this week against Southampton. He's got a great record against them, 5 goals in 7 games at the time of this recording. I consider Isak if I got him, but earlier in the season, when I did, all the others scored far more. Typical FPL, isn't it? Pedro captain put me off too. Yeah, I mean, this season has been a very funny one, hasn't it? See you next deadline stream. Thank you very much, SOCLH. And I massively appreciate you becoming a channel member. Manu says, thanks Dylan, good night from here in Kenya. It's 1 AM here. I appreciate you tuning in, mate. It's 10 PM in the UK, and I'm going to zone out from FPL for a little bit. I'll watch the games tomorrow, but as a neutral, so to speak. And back to all the content on Monday and preparing it on Sunday night, of course. Are you going to consider Rumble? What does that mean? Sorry, I'm a bit stupid. Have a good one, Dylan. Thank you, the special one. Go on, Mourinho, go on. Duncan MCC says, Merry Christmas, mate. Likewise, have a blessed Christmas and a Happy New Year. Jimenez had Manice as a threat. Yeah, I think there's going to be a rotation, which I discussed in my recent videos too. That's a good point that I didn't really mention today. And you could say the same thing about Duran versus Watkins, with maybe Joao Pedro eventually, and of course with Jota. Rumble alternative to YouTube. I'll check it out. I'm not sure how many people, in terms of FPL viewers and UCL Fantasy, will be on there, but I mean, why? Let's expand the brand. Boma says, hi Dylan, not sure if you've answered this. I want to sell Saka and Cunha for Isak, and I mentioned a lot of midfielders earlier to replace Saka. So apart from the obvious Salahs and Palmers of the world, I'd be looking at Son, Fernandes, Ismail Assar, Maddison, Kulusevski, Amad Diallo, Rodgers. It all depends on your budget and what you want to achieve in other positions. Rumble's ass. Yeah, I'm going to check it out for myself and see. You can put it on both, maybe. Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. I mean, I've thought about this before with Twitch in terms of getting a live chat up for Twitch and YouTube. It could be confusing for viewers, but I mean, it would help with growth. Thank you for the suggestion. I will check it out. And thank you to everyone for watching. Enjoy the football. There are still a few games left on Sunday, some massive clashes, and hopefully we have a great title race until the end of the season. I'll keep you updated on injuries like Bukayo Saka. Will Cunha finally be suspended? And yeah, by the transfer tips video on Monday, that's the plan. There could be a lot more updates by then, and I'll give more in-depth, detailed analysis on the key players and fixture swings to target. The best wildcard team and the team selection are also headed your way, and another deadline stream on Thursday on Boxing Day for Gameweek team. Take care, everyone. There's going to be more UCL Fantasy and FPL content to come, but hopefully you have a great weekend, and I'll see you very soon.